Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the India Today Tourism Conclave, where we celebrate India's beauty in its geographical diversity. We truly cater to every kind of traveler there is, courtesy of beautiful monuments, natural travel, the beach, mountains, rivers, you name it, we have it. And that's what we really want to celebrate with the India Today Tourism Conclave as well. We were looking forward to hosting Mr. Kishan Reddy, but due to an unfortunate personal tragedy, he will not be gracing us with his presence. But we're absolutely delighted that we have with us Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal, Minister of State for Culture and Parliamentary Affairs with us. Thank you, sir. We're also delighted to have with us Mr. Arvind Singh, Secretary of Tourism in the Government of India. I'd just quickly like to take the time out to thank our sponsors, Kerala Tourism, Gujarat Tourism, Uttarakhand Tourism, Uttar Pradesh Tourism, Madhya Pradesh Tourism, Daman and Diu Tourism, Rajasthan Tourism, Goa Tourism, Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, and Himachal Tourism. With that, let's begin with the inaugural address, which is on building cooperation between government, private enterprise, and local communities for the next tourism revolution in India. It's our absolute pleasure to invite here on the dais Mr. Parameshwaran Iyer, Executive Director of World Bank and CEO, Niti Aayog. Sir.
Good morning to everyone. It's great to be here. Particularly with such a distinguished gathering with all the states, honorable ministers from state governments, and of course, Honorable Minister of State for Culture, Arvind, Secretaries of Tourism from the states, honorable ministers, and distinguished participants. Niti Aayog, of course, has been collaborating closely with Ministry of Tourism and with private operators on multiple fronts, and very glad to talk a little bit about the sector, the priority for the government, and the sort of roadmap going forward, how this public-private partnership is really starting to take tourism to the next level in India and abroad. Now, we all know that amidst the global headwinds, India has been one stable factor, the one bright spot, as the Managing Director of the IMF mentioned recently. So we are the fastest growing large economy in the world, with macroeconomic fundamentals under control and a very, very forward-looking budget recently announced by the Finance Minister. So in this Amrit Kal, the next 25 years leading up to our 100th anniversary of independence, we are in a strong position to build on our ongoing reform agenda, macroeconomic agenda, and we are building a sound base to move towards the Prime Minister's vision of India becoming a developed economy, Viksit Bharat, by 2047. Now, tourism, as we all know, is obviously one of the main drivers of growth for the Indian economy. It also has an immense potential to generate jobs, increasingly green jobs, as well as promote sustainable development. And this year's budget announcement really puts tourism in a mission mode, with the focus on active participation of states, convergence of government programs, and public-private partnerships. So Budget 2023, and I'm sure you're going to hear a lot about that, talks about the expansion of the tourism infrastructure by announcing 50 new destinations to be developed on challenge mode, development of an information-driven application, setting up of unity malls in state capitals, additional retail outlets for handicrafts and one district, one product, ODOP products, leading to development benefits reaching the last mile. I think that's the main priority. And more than 50 wildlife and tourist destinations will be connected in the next round of the regional connectivity scheme. And therefore, tourism is really it's a major driver of growth at the district level. at the Chief Secretary's conference some time back, we heard about how tourism is really driving growth all the way down. And I think that's the benefit of development going down to the last mile. So the Prime Minister's programs of Dekho Apna Desh, Swadesh Darshan, and the Vibrant Villages program are significant steps in the direction of boosting economic development and right up to the border level. So India has already gone a tourist revolution over the past decade. The country has become an increasingly popular tourist destination all over the world. And according to the Ministry of Tourism numbers, we witnessed an arrival of about 11 million tourists from abroad in 2019. I think that number is going up. There was a bit of a challenge during COVID, but I think we are almost back to pre-COVID levels. But the bigger story is domestic tourism. And the numbers I've been given tell me that there were 1.8 billion domestic tourists in India in 2019. And the numbers have probably gone up. And now increasingly in post-COVID, we are seeing a surge of tourism domestically in destinations all over India. So the domestic tourist industry, and all of you are sort of dealing with that, catering to that, is growing phenomenally. But of course, international tourist arrivals will also increase, and that's another target we should aim towards. So according to a report by the World Travel and Tourism Council, India's domestic travel market is expected to grow at an average annual rate of 8% between 2019, 3 years ago, and 2029, reaching a total market size of $91 billion by 2029. The hotel industry is thriving with improvements in occupancy rates, increase in the average room rate, and rise in revenue per available room, which are now much nearer to the pre-pandemic level of 2019-20. And the foreign tourism sector is also showing signs of revival, with arrivals in FY23 this financial year growing month on month with the resumption of international flights and easing of COVID-19 regulations. In addition, with the resumption of corporate travel and flexible work arrangements, the rebound in MICE, meetings, incentives, conferences, exhibitions, and business plus leisure, travel is regaining popularity in India. And with infrastructure amenities constantly improving, and the springing up of hotels and lodges across India, India is increasingly the preferred destination for these kinds of events. One notable success story which I must highlight is India's medical and wellness tourism industry. We are ranked 10th out of the top 46 countries in the world in the Medical Tourism Index, released by the Medical Tourism Association. I think the way India handled the COVID pandemic, our 2 billion plus vaccines, CoWIN as a digital platform, the confidence in India and our provision of vaccines for the world has also increased confidence and trust in India and prepared ourselves for future shocks. So I think trust in India's medical infrastructure has increased considerably. The presence of world-class hospitals, healthcare, professionals, I think that has made a huge difference, and this is going to be one rapidly growing sector. In addition, we can also export medical services, particularly nursing, to countries around the world. So medical value tourism is expected to grow to $13 billion by 2028. In addition, India continues to be a very attractive destination for specialized tourism. Recent initiatives like the Ayush visa for tourists who desire to visit India for Ayurveda typically related treatment, the launch of the National Strategy for Sustainable Tourism and Responsible Traveller campaign, the introduction of the Swadesh Darshan 2.0 scheme, and the Heal in India has led to India capturing an even larger share of the world's medical tourism market. As you all know, this year is also the year of India's G20 presidency, wherein all of government effort is underway to showcase the best of food, hospitality, culture, and natural beauty to the world. I know Arvind and team have done a phenomenal job working with the G20 Sherpa and team on really showcasing India, not just in terms of the thematic areas of the G20, but also the hospitality, and the diversity and the beauty of India. So, congratulations to all of you for making that happen. Now, government and the private sector need to work together. And this is happening particularly in the tourism sector. The synergy between the key stakeholders of Indian tourism governance, whether it's a central government, state governments, the private sector, local communities, they're all coming together. And I think this is the policy which the Prime Minister has been encouraging generally, a whole of government, but also a whole of society, a whole of country approach. It's important to bring in all the lessons we have got on attracting investment, innovation, and I think that's coming entirely from the private sector. So I think that will be the key to future tourism growth, the innovation, the drive, the creativity of the private sector, with facilitation and empowerment and creating of an ecosystem by the government. Because in the end, all that growth is really going to come from the private sector. Now, again, in the post-COVID world, there will be some new challenges and changes. And it's also important for us to ride these trends. Now, we have got immense natural and heritage and spiritual wealth to offer. So I think that these products need to be tailored to current, but more importantly, future aspirations. Now, the tourism experience, all of you are the experts here. We have got honorable ministers from different states as well. And this is what you do. But I thought I would just emphasize again the importance of niche areas like the Buddhist circuit, which is already being leveraged, to include the aspirational district, which is one of the lagging districts now brought up to the national average, Siddharth Nagar, and connected, for example, to Lumbini in Nepal. Maybe it's already happening. And similarly, innovative ideas, water tourism, winter tourism. I remember going to Auli in Chamoli district way back, 30 years ago, and now that's again, that can easily become an international tourist destination. So nature, river tourism, and adventure tourism. Let's not also forget that tourism is also a highly climate sensitive sector, which adds both to the economy but also to sustainability. Similar to agriculture, due to its significant association with environment and climate change. You will recall that recently the Prime Minister launched the LIFE initiative, Lifestyle for the Environment. He first announced it at COP26, and it's about more sustainable lifestyles and how individuals and communities can actually contribute to improving climate, to reducing emissions, and also adaptation. And to use the Prime Minister's terms, how can all of us and how can the global community become pro-planet people? And again, that is centrally linked with responsible tourism. And I remember attending a meeting with Arvind and other colleagues from the private sector on how can we all promote more sustainable tourism. I think that will be a very important lesson going forward. And finally, let me say that in the past, typically in India, tourism has been connected with a few big cities and centers and towns of architectural or historical interest. So I think today, with our growing economy, the digital connectivity, physical connectivity in India, I think we really need to push tourism down to the last mile. And I think with the enabling environment created in this public-private partnership by the Government of India together with the state governments, this could really usher in the next Indian tourism revolution. So I want to thank the India Today group for organizing this, particularly my good friend Raj for inviting me here today. And it's a pleasure to be here. Today is my last day in the Niti Aayog. So I'm looking forward to my next assignment as the Executive Director for India and the World Bank, where we will continue to support the tourism industry in India. Thank you very much.
Can we have a round of applause for Mr. Iyer, please, on a very successful term as Niti Aayog CEO as well. Thank you very much, sir. And from what you said, I think it's very clear that the tourism revolution, domestic tourism at least, the revolution is very much upon us already. Before we move to our next session, I'd also like to take this opportunity to welcome here at the India Today Tourism Conclave, Mr. Harshvardhan Chauhan, Minister for Industries, Himachal Pradesh. Thank you, sir, for taking the time out and joining us here. I'd also like to welcome Mr. Satpal Maharaj, Minister of Tourism and Panchayati Raj of Uttarakhand. Thank you, sir. Welcome to all of the dignitaries who've taken the time out to join us here at the India Today Tourism Conclave. On to our next session, the keynote address on Indian tourism, the road ahead. I'd like to welcome here onto the stage Mr. Arvind Singh, Secretary of Tourism at the Government of India.
Honorable Minister of State for Culture, Shri Arjun Meghwalji, Honorable Ministers from Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, the senior officials from the different states who have come here for the awards. I see lots of familiar faces in the audience. CEO Niti Aayog, who's today, sir, has been a guide and mentor in the few months he was there at Niti Aayog, worked closely with us, and we hope to continue our association even when he moves to the World Bank as, Executive Director on behalf of India. So it is my privilege here to speak today, and on behalf of Honorable Union Minister Kishan Reddy, who couldn't be present due to some unfortunate incident in his family. So I'm happy that I'm here, and I congratulate India today for these awards for honoring and recognizing the efforts of industry stakeholders. These awards have over the years emerged as a prestigious recognition of achievements of the state governments, of the private sector, and other stakeholders in the travel sector, and these definitely help to motivate all of us. As spoken by my illustrious predecessor who spoke from this dais, that it is one of the largest economic centers globally. It creates export possibilities and, of course, employment and prosperity. The last 2 years were very difficult in India also due to COVID, but now inbound tourism has picked up and domestic tourism has seen tremendous growth, which we are witnessing in all parts of the country, and particularly in some new spots also where tourism infrastructure has been built up. And we are hopeful that in the coming months, the growth in domestic industry, the domestic tourism shall rise, shall be more, giving relief to the business. We have worked in the past and also during the pandemic to support the sector. We have been in continuous dialogue with the representatives and stakeholders to discuss solutions and with other ministries to how to revive the economy by reviving demand. We are celebrating this year as Visit India Year 2023, focusing on raising inbound travel to India. The logo was recently launched by Honorable Minister, and all of us know that the experience that tourists can have is immense in India. Boundless cultural heritage, blissful spiritual experiences, very rich wildlife resources, and natural beauty. In addition to inbound tourism, we have also given focus to domestic tourism through promotion of the Dekho Apna Desh webinars. And we are getting positive reports of, very high revenues in hotels, hotels being sold out in most of the destinations. And it is a fact that post-pandemic domestic tourism has played a major role in revival of this sector in the country. We are taking a 360-degree view for the development of the sector. The development of tourism sector has been accompanied with due focus on enhancing the connectivity to important destinations, hitherto unconnected destinations, through enhancing rail, road and air connectivity so that these destinations become accessible to all. We had recommended 59 tourism air routes to the Ministry of Civil Aviation, and as on 1st February of this year, 51 of the air routes have already been operationalized. We are also working with the Ministry of Road Transport to improve road connectivity to various destinations and the setting up of wayside amenities. All of those who travel by road are witness to the development that are happening on the highways and in the development of wayside amenities at very important destinations. We are also working with the Ministry of Ports to promote cruise tourism, both on oceans and inland waterways. We have funded the setting up of cruise terminals at major ports, be it Cochin, Vishakhapatnam, Mumbai, and you were witness to the recent long cruise that was flagged off by Honorable Prime Minister from Varanasi. And so we are promoting cruise on inland waterways also. We have supported cruise terminal projects on inland waterways also. We are working with the Ministry of Environment to promote wildlife and ecotourism, and we have funded several projects in several states to promote such tourism under the Swadesh Darshan scheme. And we are also working with the Ministry of Home Affairs and the External Affairs for easing of the visa regime in the country, making more accessible, more countries accessible, or more countries have access to e-visas to facilitate seamless travel into the country. And as I speak, more than 160 countries, citizens have facilities of e-visa entry, electronic visa, where they can apply online and get visas to come into India. There are several slew of other reforms also, IT-based reforms such as Nidhi, employment generation initiatives through the tourist facilitator certification program, and involving the youth in tourism through the promotion of Yuva tourism clubs. And these are also initiatives that we have launched in the last year to promote tourism in all sections of the society. As mentioned by Mr. Iyer, developing tourism in mission mode under India's G20 presidency and in the backdrop of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. You heard the mention in the budget about developing tourism in mission mode with convergence of all state and central government schemes and public-private partnership. Under the G20 presidency, more than 200 meetings are being held at 56 locations. And these meetings, you are reading about it, are already underway since December. The first tourism working group meeting has already taken place at the Run of Kutch in February, and that was a memorable experience for all the delegates. There will be 3 more working group meetings, and it will culminate in the ministerial at Goa in the month of June, where the final Goa declaration as a result of the deliberations of the G20 countries for the tourism sector will be published and announced. And I look forward to support and cooperation of all of you. Along with these working group meetings, we have also scheduled side events, major side events. I'll just mention a few. One, of course, is a big global investor summit which is scheduled to be held in Delhi 17th to 19th May at Pragati Maidan. And I'm already in touch with the states. I have asked them, our minister's vision and the ministry's idea is that we should showcase all the states' probable investable projects in front of both international as well as domestic investors. So I would urge all the states present here to take advantage of this major event. We are working in partnership with CII and Invest India. They have already written to you. They have already met some of you. There have been road shows at various parts of the country. But you should all work to make this big event a major success. And I'm sure it will propel further investment from the private sector, both internationally and domestic, into the sector. We have also invited the World Bank, sir, for this event, international organizations, and we'll look forward to your presence in May at this event. Another major side event that we are planning is, because there is always talk that a lot of MICE events are going out of India, Indian companies are going out. So there is a conference on international MICE, which will also be in May. And the organizers are working out on the location. Probably the first preference is Bangalore. So it will probably be in the Bangalore in the first half of May. And that will be to showcase India's potential as a MICE center. We know that a lot of beautiful convention centers are coming up in different parts of the country, but many of us are not aware. For instance, how many of you are aware that a state-of-the-art convention center has come up in Khajuraho, Madhya Pradesh? Please raise your hands. So very few, 4 or 5 only. Now, the culture working group G20 was held there yesterday. And if you just go online, you'll see the photographs. Similarly, centers have come up in Varanasi, in different parts of the country. In Goa, a new center is coming up. Goa is hopeful that the G20 ministerial would be held in that convention center. So to showcase the potential of various parts of the country in the promotion of MICE and stop MICE events from going abroad, this will be a major event, and any state that is interested in participating in this should get in touch with the ministry, and we will let you facilitate your participation in this seminar. So apart from the working events, these are 2 major events that we are doing. And of course, the World Travel and Trade Council does the CEOs Forum, where they get international CEOs to come to India, and that will coincide with the ministerial at Goa. They will do that either on the day of the ministerial meeting or one day. So we'll see top CEOs from the world, coming to Goa and converging there. So we are hopeful that all these efforts and our, transformations in connectivity and infrastructure will definitely help create the conducive conditions for growth of tourism. And we are all aware of the employment generation and the economic potential, the contribution to GDP that tourism offers. So to conclude, I would like to thank and congratulate the award winners and to India Today for holding such a prestigious event. And I'm sure that this will help propel the growth of the tourism sector, its revival and future growth in the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arvind Singh, for giving us such a clear picture of the government's roadmap, the government's blueprint on how to truly transform tourism in the country. I'd like to now invite onto the dais Raj Chengappa, Group Editorial Director, India Today Group, for the welcome address. Please, the round of applause. Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal, if you could please do us the kind honor of joining us here on the stage. A round of applause, please, for Mr. Meghwal, Minister for Culture and Parliamentary Affairs.
Is it morning? I'm just checking. Oh, we are still, yeah, we're in good time. Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. After two excellent discourses on how to boost tourism, bring in the revolution that Parameshwaram I talked about, as well as Mr. Arvind Singh, the Tourism Secretary, who gave us a sweeping description of what the Government of India is doing and the really exciting programs ahead of us this year. We are honored to have in our midst Union Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal, who's the Union Minister for Culture and Parliamentary Affairs. Let's welcome him with a very warm round of applause, Mr. Meghwal. Minister Saab, we are deeply grateful that despite your busy schedule, you so graciously agreed at very short notice to deliver the keynote address and present the awards to the respective winners for the best tourism destinations in 2022. There are three things I thought that made your presence extremely invaluable to us. The first is that you are a former distinguished civil servant. With your vast experience, you could bring rare practical insights into implementing any policies that are being discussed, including tourism. Secondly, after your successful shift to politics, you have a member of Parliament from Bikaner, which is a major tourism destination apart from the state of Rajasthan itself, and part of the famed Golden Triangle, which is now expanded into a whole range of other things across the country. And therefore, that experience itself will add, more sort of insights for us in this particular summit. And thirdly, as Minister of Culture, you are in a very good position to influence all that is great about India's rich heritage and its fabulous cultural diversity, and to showcase it. So we would be very interested when you address us soon after this, how you think we could leverage this enormous wealth we have to attract not just domestic tourists, and all of us have been part of that heritage and culture tourism that's there, but foreign tourists, and showcase it to them as well. As I'd mentioned, we have had two excellent speakers just before me, and we look forward also to the privilege of listening to Sri Satpal Maharaji, who was among his many portfolios as tourism as well from Uttarakhand. And it is my favorite pilgrimage state, and I've been, I think, many times to Char Dham, so I know what your state offers. Also, to listen to Mr. Harshvardhan Chauhan, who's Minister of Industries, Himachal Pradesh. Another favorite hill destination, I'm sure, for all of us. All of us have enjoyed that state, and we look forward to listening to both of you all into your personal experiences. Apart from that, there is a session where all the key award winners will also share their experiences and their tips for us in terms of excellence. So we welcome all of you all to this, and we look forward to hearing you all. I see Param has to leave. We will not keep him. He's got a farewell party to happen. Just to say briefly that India Today organizes these annual tourism survey and awards to promote cooperation and competition among key stakeholders, particularly state administrations, and to recognize excellence and award them. So in a bid to not only discuss and all these experiences and share them, and therefore others can learn from those states that excel or do best in what they do, we also decided that we'll have awards. And of course, it's very difficult thing to do, to determine these various destinations and award them. But we engaged a top survey agency called Ipsos to determine all these a dozen categories that we have, which we will soon announce. And I'll not sort of showcase those who have won so far. Let that be a surprise to everyone. But we did this by conducting a perceptual survey across 10 major cities. And the nominations were then sought across. Apart from that, the agency collected various other opinions. And the survey then sort of determined, in some senses, which are the best tourism destinations in each category and gave scores. After that, an India Today editorial board reviewed each of these things, and apart from other inputs, we've then decided who would be the winners. So this is a very scientific way we've approached it. It is not just off the cuff that we do these things. There has been some study, and therefore I think this is of great value for various states as well as the center in determining where to put the emphasis on. And we are honored that, Mr. Meghwal, that you have agreed to present the award to the winners. I will not take more of your time, but I was just listening to both Mr. Arvind Singh and Mr. Iyer, and of course you bring this tremendous combination what we need in tourism, which is, I think, Param Iyer is better known as Mr. Toilet. He's left there, but for his outstanding work as Swachh Bharat, which essentially is all about sustainable development. Mr. Arvind Singh, tourism, and the fact that tourism is such a key industry, and that's one of the key sectors, and that is one of the key reasons why we do this, is because in terms of employment, it is probably, if developed, be one of the highest employment generators in the country. And as we know, we've all faced this problem of unemployment, particularly post the pandemic. And here, tourism suffered the most compared to many of the other sectors. There's a chance, as we talked, of reviving and creating a new revolution across it, learning from the past, understanding the kind of trauma that we had to go through this, and then setting ourselves huge goals towards it. And with it, bringing culture, I think very, very important. It was very interestingly, the World Economic Forum has what is called its Global Tourism Council. And it presented a white paper in September last year, not too far back, just about 6 months ago, to help guide businesses, governments, destination, providers, travelers, and resident communities, and largely to boost tourism, because they themselves feel that there is something like 1.6 billion tourists that happen, and there is tremendous amount. It contributes almost 10% to GDP in many countries, including India, and 1 out of every 10 jobs in the world is generated by tourism. And some of the points that they talked about, they had 10 sort of ideas that were there. Some of them are very relevant in terms of us setting a blueprint, because many times we've all been to tourist centers, and there's an element of ad hocism that happens. So some of our best hill destinations tend to get overcrowded very rapidly because everyone lands up over there, whether you see Manali, whether you see some of the other hill stations as well. I won't name names, but you will see some of the most favorite places then sort of really get overcrowded, and then we call them downhill stations. When there's so many tourists that you lose that pleasure of actually going to a hill station and getting the quiet and calm. So I think they talked of, how do you do these things? And I think the key word in that, and that's why Param Iyer's presence as well as the others, is sustainable. How do you make these destinations sustainable? And there the World Economic Forum, with all its expertise brought in, looked at the kind of standards that one can bring about for this. the certifications, and also the metrics in terms of how you can bring these, the sustainability to it. And very interestingly, if you look at what it talks about cultivating the workforce, which is essentially, how do you train all these people? At the end of the day, you need your tourist guides, you need your hoteliers, you need the whole phalanx of thing if you have to make a destination thing. It's not rocket science. You all have been doing it in the States, there. But how do you develop this manpower that can then promote tourism in the manner that is sustainable as well as bring huge amount of expansion? So this, I'm sure all the states, even as they promote their tourism, face the shortage of good personnel and good, techniques and quality and efficiency for this. So I think that's a very important point. The other thing I think that as we come across and very critical is how do you prioritize communities? Essentially, when you talk of sustainable, we tend to, supposing in a state of Rajasthan, your state, or any other place, particularly around the wildlife areas, how do you involve those communities to take pride in what they're doing and involve them and give them the benefits of tourism? And therefore, you can make it sustainable. If you just take wildlife and bring people from outside and don't engage the local communities, hostility comes out. So how do you, integrate this? I think that's a very important thing in terms of planning and guiding tourism destination. The other thing is aligning visitors who come there. This is what they also talked about, which is how do you manage visitors? Now, some of our best sites, whether it's Ajanta and Ellora, or whether in some of these other major heritage sites, the problem of enormous amounts of crowd. So humidity might, say, destroy a lot of the famous paintings there. So how do you get visitors to understand that as they come there, they need to respect those surfaces, they don't sort of destroy them, they don't litter, they don't do things that we see, play loud music. What is it that we can do to bring that kind of culture that's there? The other point, I think, is protection of heritage, which, I think that is being done, but how much more can we do about it? Because we have such magnificent showpieces. When you think of India, I think you think of this vast, there's nothing that we don't have in India. And I wonder sometimes why we all go abroad to go for holidays. You have the best beaches, but we'll go to Thailand. Why does that happen? You have the best mountain stations, we'll instead go to Switzerland and other places to look at mountains that's there. When we don't discover our own raw beauty that's there, the best deserts, again, we don't look at it. The best forest, I come from Karnataka, which has tigers and the best wildlife in a district called Coorg, which is, a hill district, which has some of the most scenic beauties that you can have, apart from wildlife and others. And yet, we will probably land up in Brazil to see coffee plantations. We will not come here to see, in my home state, this. And if you take the whole range, any state you take has a fantastic amount to showcase about. Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, you name it. I'm just going, Odisha. Why don't we go across to the beaches in any of these places? Why do we always think that outside is better? Obviously, there's something else that's happening in places like Thailand and Singapore, though very tiny, that they're able to attract the kind of numbers that they have, which almost equal us despite our size. So what do we need to do to boost, to ensure that each, and I think this, what Mr. Arvind Singh talked about, and the fact that the budget, is talking about 50 destinations to promote. And part of this can be the plan to promote these destinations. How do you make it very holistic when you plan this? So that all domestic tourism is our biggest tourist arrivals that's happening across, right? We forget that we have 400 million middle-class people who have money to spend. Why should they go abroad and spend it? We need to attract foreigners here, as well as look at our own country and see the beauties of it. So I think this is this thing. And of course, while we're looking at that other point is protecting nature. Many of these things, again, like these wonderful hill stations that we have, our game reserves, our wildlife preserves, are getting increasingly destroyed and crowded. How can we ensure that we provide the beauty of nature, but at the same time preserve it? What do we need to do for that? Showcase our diversity and whatever there. And of course, some essential things like producing and consuming responsibly, which I think it's very important for all the stakeholders to keep that as a practice. I will not go into the details, but I will just talk. I think Mr. Arvind Singh talked about infrastructure, how to calibrate infrastructure. And there again, the whole thing of while we promote competition, how can we promote cooperation? So if I come to India, can I be assured that I can go to 5 states if I'm a foreigner? So that I move from Uttarakhand if I want to see the mountains, or Himachal, I come to Delhi and Agra, I keep that tourist here. He doesn't move out of the country. I have so much to offer him. I'll give him wildlife. I'll give him medical tourism if he wants to. I'll give him this. How do you keep that one person? We have that in magazine business. A moment a reader comes to our site, we want him to keep reading. We don't want him to get away and read another newspaper or a magazine. It's the same thing. Once a tourist comes here, he's invaluable. How long can you keep him here in your state or in the country and get it? That kind of cooperation I think we need to build. And there I think our aviation boom that is happening, connectivity is the key thing. If I can fly easily, half an hour from this place to that place at a cheap rate, I will say, okay, I'll go and see this mountain, but I'll also go and see the beach. That's it, I can do this. So how can the states collaborate among each other to provide this connectivity, to provide ease of traveling, of also hotels, ease of booking, ease of facilitation on all these things, great roads, if they come about, driving is a pastime that we should all be doing. If you go to the US, you just drive if you're part of the tourists, this thing. How can we encourage that culture that is there and make provisions in each of these places for parking, for all these things, wherever you're going on that front. And finally, I think governance is one of the key things that we need to look at. And I think tourism sector is so critical. We tend to look at other sectors as, important and all. But I think tourism is one of the biggest employment generators, and both state and central governments must give it the kind of importance and due that it deserves. It's very, very critical to set aside resources, to have a blueprint, to promote hotels, to promote resorts, to create the land and spaces for that. How can we make this, if you're talking of the revolution that we want to bring about, COVID has given us that opportunity, how can we do it? And finally, I think resilience. We all learned the problems of the pandemic. Can we, in many senses, build, or what does resilience mean? That even when there's great difficulty, you overcome. We have done that as a country. If you see our economy, how we've overcome. We've been able to we had degrowth, but now we see we are back. Hopefully, we will be in the next 2 years back to what we were pre-COVID. So the tourism sector needs to recover and do that. Resilience is very critical to plan for all these exigencies are there. So there are about 10 of these principles, which I think are very critical. And that is why we have brought this whole gathering together, because we in India today believe that this is a sector that is critical to the development of this country. It's critical for employment. We have such magnificent things to showcase. This is the time to create the revolution. With these few words, I'd like to now invite Union Minister of State for Culture, Mr. Arjun Megwal, to deliver the keynote address for us. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
इंडिया टुडे की जो ये टूरिज्म पर आज कॉन्क्लेव हो रही है, उसका मेन तो थीम तो सर्वे एंड अवार्ड है 2022, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि टॉपिक बहुत मिल गए हैं यहाँ आने के बाद कि पूरा डिस्कशन हो रहा है टूरिज्म के डेवलपमेंट पे, ऐसा मुझे लग रहा है। देखिए, मैं जो प्रमुख लोग आए हैं आज, वो सब अपने आप में विद्वान हैं, और वो जो अपनी बात कहेंगे वो निश्चित रूप से आगे चल कर के एक इस अमृतकाल में निचोड़ निकलेगा और टूरिज्म के लिए बहुत फलदायी होगा, ऐसा मैं मानता हूँ। इस प्रोग्राम में उपस्थित आदरणीय सतपाल महाराज जी, जो माननीय पर्यटन मंत्री हैं उत्तराखंड सरकार के, माननीय हर्षवर्धन जी, जो उद्योग मंत्री हैं हिमाचल सरकार के, अभी नीति आयोग के परमेश्वर जी कुछ बातें कह के गए हैं, आपको ध्यान में रही है, वो भी इस प्रोग्राम में आए थे। अरविंद सिंह जी जो सेक्रेटरी है टूरिज्म के, उन्होंने भी अपनी काफ़ी कीनोट एड्रेस दिया है। हमारे प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी टूरिज्म एमडी सिन्हा साहब भी हैं हरियाणा से। धर्मेंद्र जी राठौड़ साहब, जिस स्टेट से मैं आता हूँ राजस्थान से, आप धर्मेंद्र जी राठौड़ चेयरमैन हैं राजस्थान टूरिज्म डेवलपमेंट कॉरपोरेशन के, तो आप भी यहाँ उपस्थित हैं। राज चिंगप्पा जी जो एडिटोरियल डायरेक्टर हैं इंडिया टुडे के, काफ़ी अभी बातें आपने कही है। उदित अग्रवाल साहब जो सीईओ है गुजरात टूरिज्म के। आलियाज अहमद डायरेक्टर जे&के टूरिज्म, और संजीव आहूजा सचिव पर्यटन विभाग गोवा। तो बहुत ऐसे विद्वान लोग आए हुए हैं, उन विद्वानों के बीच में बोलना थोड़ा कठिन होता है, लेकिन मैं बोलूँगा कुछ। इंडिया टुडे को सबसे पहले मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ कि इंडिया टुडे जैसे सम्मानित मीडिया हाउस लगातार भारत में पर्यटन को बढ़ाने के लिए कुछ न कुछ काम कर रहे हैं, और उसी श्रृंखला में आज का कार्यक्रम है। तो सबसे पहले तो बहुत जोरदार धन्यवाद देंगे ताली बजा करके, एक बड़ा अच्छा इनिशिएशन आपने लिया। अब टूरिज्म कितने प्रकार के होते हैं, हम धर्मेंद्र जी एक जगह थे अब खेतड़ी में, वो भी टूरिज्म ही था सर। विवेकानंद क्या थे, ट्रेवलर, घूमते हुए खेतड़ी गए थे। उस समय हमने उनको नाम दिया तीर्थाटन करने वाले लोग। अगर नानक देव जी घूम रहे थे पूरे संसार में, तो उनको हम उस समय पर्यटन शब्द, शायद पर्यटक शब्द इजाद नहीं हुआ होगा। तो अगर हम नानक देव जी की पुस्तकें पढ़ेंगे तो हम कहते हैं ट्रेवलर, संत हैं लेकिन घूम रहे हैं। कबीरदास जी को पढ़ते हैं तो वो भी संत हैं लेकिन घूम रहे हैं। तो जब आदमी घूमता है सतपाल महाराज की तरह तो ज्ञानी हो जाता है। तो अभी हम विवेकानंद जी खेतड़ी गए तो हमने म्यूजियम का उद्घाटन किया था। अब उसके बाद देखिए एक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर खड़ा किया और कितने लोग आने लगे। मैंने वहाँ स्वामी जी से पूछा कि साहब लोग आजकल, पहले 1000-2000 आते थे खेतड़ी, बहुत डिफिकल्ट है पहुँचना भी, और अब आने लगे 15-20 हज़ार। इसका मतलब आप इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर क्रिएट करो, लोग आएंगे। तो इसलिए जो हमारे परमेश्वर जी अय्यर कह के गए कि इस साल के बजट में, यूनियन बजट में, जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए जो पैसा दिया वो छोटा पैसा नहीं है, वो 20 लाख करोड़ है। उससे जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर खड़ा होगा, क्या क्या खड़ा होगा, जाएगा कैसे आदमी, रोड नेट, रोड कनेक्टिविटी चाहिए, रेल कनेक्टिविटी चाहिए। कुछ लोग तो उसी से जाएंगे ना, डोमेस्टिक टूरिस्ट। उसके बाद एयर कनेक्टिविटी भी बहुत तेजी से बढ़ रही है इंडिया में, और उसके बाद उसको चाहिए वहाँ पहुँचने के बाद कनेक्टिविटी में इंटरनेट, वाईफाई। होटल भी ऐसे हैं जो वाईफाई सुविधा रखते हैं, उसमें ज़्यादा लोग ठहरते हैं, वो वाईफाई है क्या, वो भी फ्री चाहिए। क्रूज, वाटरवेज, एक अलग सुविधा बढ़ गई। ये सब इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के क्षेत्र हैं। अभी देखा होगा इस बजट में पर्वतमाला। ये पर्वतमाला क्या है, एक पर्वत से दूसरे पर्वत के बीच में जाने के लिए टूरिस्ट देखता मैं जाऊंगा बाई रोड, मुझे 1 दिन लगेगा, रास्ता भी डिफिकल्ट, एक्सीडेंट भी हो सकता है। तो रोपवे टेक्नोलॉजी, अगेन इट्स ए पार्ट ऑफ द यूनियन बजट 2023-24। तो रोपवे टेक्नोलॉजी में एक पर्वत की चोटी पे कोई आदमी बैठा है, दूसरी पर्वत की चोटी पे वो रोपवे टेक्नोलॉजी के माध्यम से जा सकता है। ये टेक्नोलॉजिकल चेंजेस भी हैं और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के डेवलपमेंट भी है। भारतमाला कितना बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट है, सागरमाला कितना बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट है, क्रूज, ये सब टूरिज्म को बढ़ावे के लिए ये इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के प्रोजेक्ट हैं। अब कई बार मैं सोचता हूं कि टूरिज्म होता कितने तरह का है। मैं पांडिचेरी में इलेक्शन इंचार्ज था, मैं वहाँ रहा, तो वो टूरिज्म हब है। तो मैंने उनसे कई बार पूछा कि भाई ये महर्षि अरविंद को जानने के लिए कितने लोग आते हैं। तो उन्होंने कहा इंडिया के तो बंगाल के लोग थोड़े ज़्यादा आते हैं, लेकिन फ्रांस और यूरोपियन कंट्री के लोग बहुत आते हैं। तो उसको क्या कहोगे आप, वो स्पिरिचुअल टूरिज्म है, वो टूरिज्म है जी। पीपल गो देयर समवेयर टू लर्न। अभी जैसे मैं कोयम्बटूर था महाशिवरात्रि के समय, वहां आप देखेंगे कि सदगुरु के पास लोग रात को सोते हैं, लेकिन सदगुरु के पास 2.5-3 लाख लोग सारी रात जाग रहे थे। वो क्या है जी, दैट इज ऑल्सो टूरिज्म। तो ये मेडिटेशन के लिए, इसको आप स्पिरिचुअल टूरिज्म का नाम दे सकते हो। कुछ लोगों ने कहा रिलीजियस टूरिज्म, वो अलग है। अब कोई मुस्लिम किसी मस्जिद में जा रहा है यात्रा के लिए, वो रिलीजियस टूरिज्म है। कोई हिंदू किसी मंदिर में अपने दर्शन के लिए जा रहा है या धोख देने के लिए जा रहा है, वो रिलीजियस टूरिज्म है। कोई सिख कम्युनिटी का आदमी नांदेड़ जा रहा है, पटना साहिब जा रहा है, वो रिलीजियस टूरिज्म है। लेकिन रिलीजियस टूरिज्म से भी आगे स्पिरिचुअल टूरिज्म बढ़ गया, वो हमारा ग्रे एरिया है। यंगर जनरेशन जुड़ा है जी उससे। मैं सारी रात था वहां ईसा फाउंडेशन में, मैं देख रहा था, वाच कर रहा था, ये कौन लोग हैं। तो तो मुझे पता लगा 60 कंट्री के लोग आए, खाली इंडिया के लोग ही नहीं गए, वो भी जाग रहे थे। एक साइंटिफिक टेम्परामेंट से थॉट दिया जब सदगुरु ने कि शिवरात्रि के दिन, महाशिवरात्रि के दिन सबसे ज्यादा यूनिवर्स में एनर्जी होती है, जो जागेगा उसको मिलेगी। पीपल एक्सेप्टेड इट। क्यों सतपाल जी महाराज? हमारे पुराने जमाने में भी लोग कह रहे थे शिवरात्रि के दिन जागो, लेकिन लोग मानते नहीं थे। एक समय आया लोग भूल गए, लेकिन जैसे ही सदगुरु ने यह कहा थॉट कि महाशिवरात्रि के दिन रात्रि के समय यूनिवर्स में एनर्जी सबसे ज्यादा होती है, जो जागेगा उसको मिलेगी, ऐसे बैठना पड़ेगा। तो लोगों ने एक्सेप्ट कर लिया। अब उसको क्या बोलोगे? कोई हम इनविटेशन दे रहे हैं वहां? 2.5-3 लाख लोग थोड़े नहीं होते हैं सारी रात जागना। इट्स ए वेरी डिफिकल्ट। 1 घंटा जाग जाओ, 2 घंटे जाग जाओ। मैं कई जगह आजकल जो ये स्पिरिचुअल जो संत है उनमें जाता हूं तो मैं देखता हूं कि यंगर जनरेशन मेडिटेशन की ओर भी झुकी है। मैंने पांडिचेरी में देखा है कि ओरोविल एक मदर ने स्थान क्रिएट किया। अब वहां जब लोग जाते हैं तो आप सोच रहे हो कि कोई 1000 2000 जाते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है जी। 20-20 25-25 हजार लोग जाकर मेडिटेशन करते हैं। ये स्पिरिचुअल टूरिज्म है जी, इसको भी ये ग्रे एरिया, इसको बढ़ाना चाहिए। एक विलेज टूरिज्म जिसका जिक्र राज साहब अभी कर रहे थे, मैं राजस्थान से आता हूं, तो जैसे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा देखो अपना देश, एक स्लोगन दिया। धर्मेंद्र राठौड़ जी बैठे हैं, हमारा भी एक स्लोगन है, पधारो हमारे देश। तो ये जो इनविटेशन का जो तरीका है, इसमें इमोशन अगर है तो लोग ज्यादा जाएंगे। अब जैसे मैं जैसलमेर की बात करूं, मेरे बीकानेर का भी टूरिज्म बहुत बड़ा है, लेकिन मैं जैसलमेर को देखता हूं। आप ठीक कह रहे थे, उन्होंने वहां क्या डेवलप किया कि विदेशी मेहमान आके पेइंग गेस्ट कंसेप्ट डेवलप कर दिया, हमारे घर में ठहरिए। तो जो लोकल सिटीजन है उसका उससे रिश्ता हो गया। एक बार उसके घर ठहरा, दोबारा आएगा तो उसी घर में जाएगा सीधा, बोला उसी घर में ले लो, वो उसका मेहमान हो गया। तो होटल कम हुए थे पहले जैसलमेर में, पेइंग गेस्ट कंसेप्ट आया तो लोगों को लगा जैसलमेर के लोग ठीक हैं, बहुत मेहमानबाजी करते हैं। अब वो लोग अनपढ़ हैं लेकिन अंग्रेजी सीख गए, तो अंग्रेजी में बात करते हैं। सम के दौरे पे ले जाते हैं, डेजर्ट, वहां समुद्र मिलेगा उनको, पहाड़ मिलेगा विदेश में, पठार मिलेंगे, नदियां मिलेगी, ले डेजर्ट नहीं मिलेगा। तो डेजर्ट देखने वो हमारे बीकानेर और जैसलमेर आते हैं। जैसे पेइंग गेस्ट फैसिलिटी मिलती है, अटैच हो जाते हैं फैमिली जैसे, तो वो 10 दिन रुकते हैं, 20 दिन रुकते हैं, और अगर दोबारा आते हैं तो उसी घर में रुकते हैं। तो ये पेइंग गेस्ट कंसेप्ट वाला जो आपने कहा ना, कई बार कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हो जाता है, वो नहीं होता अगर आपने ऐसा शुरू कर दिया। तो हमारे जैसलमेर में शुरू हुआ। आपने एक उदाहरण ये भी दिया, एक जगह मैं डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर था, हिरण, ब्लैक बक, एक जगह छापर हमारे जगह चूरू में। तो अब ब्लैक बक देखने के लिए लोग बहुत आते हैं, भी क्या है ब्लैक बक। और वो जब वो फिल्म में आया था उसमें शिकार वाला, तब ज्यादा हो गया था मामला, तो उसको बहुत देखने आते थे ब्लैक बक। उस तो अब वहां क्या हुआ, ब्लैक बक के लिए हमने प्रयास किया कि इसको तारबंदी कर दो, ये कर दो। जो आदमी वहां रहते थे उन आदमियों ने कहा कि हमारे पानी का साधन ये जो ब्लैक बक रहते हैं ना वहां है, आपके लिए हिरण इंपॉर्टेंट है या आदमी इंपॉर्टेंट है? तो हमारे पर्यटन विभाग ने कहा हमारे लिए हिरण इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो वहां की जनता ने हड़ताल कर दी। एज ए डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर मुझे वहां जाना पड़ा। मैं गया तो महिलाएं बहुत थी। उन्होंने कहा वैसे तो इस हिरण को हम बच्चों की तरह पालते हैं, लेकिन हमारे भी तो बच्चे हैं कलेक्टर साहब। ये आपने अच्छा टॉपिक टच किया। ये कॉन्फ्लिक्ट नहीं होना चाहिए। कोई घूमने की जगह है, वहां कोई हिरण रहते हैं या कैमल रहते हैं या शेर रहते हैं या चीता रहते हैं, और वहां जनता रहती है, उनके बीच में अगर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट होगा तो डेवलपमेंट रुक जाएगा। तो हमने कहा क्या चाहिए आपको? तो बोला पानी का दूसरा प्रबंध करना चाहिए। तो मेरे पास उस समय सस्पेंस अकाउंट में कलेक्टर के पास कुछ पैसे पड़े रहते थे। मैंने उसी समय एक नया कुआं सैंक्शन किया, हिरणों को भी बचाया और जनता को भी बचाया। ये डेवलपमेंट प्लान है ना, ये होने से अपना आप ठीक हो जाएगा, आगे चीजें तेजी से बढ़ जाएगी। कॉन्फ्लिक्ट क्यों? हिरण बचाना चाहिए, लेकिन जो महिलाएं हैं जो कह रहे हैं हमारा पानी का सोर्स एक ही था, तो हिरण प्रिय है आपको या हमारा बेटा भी प्रिय है आपको, हमारी भी संतान है। ये जब कॉन्फ्लिक्ट नहीं होता है, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, अब वो पर्यटन वाले माने नहीं, बोला नहीं ये पानी यहां से नहीं पिएंगे। अरविंद जी बैठे हैं लेकिन कई बार अड़ जाते हैं। हमने कहा यार इसमें कुछ दिन पीने दो, नहीं लेकिन वो तो हमारे पास कुछ पैसा था इसलिए हमने कुआं हाथों हाथ सैंक्शन कर दिया, खोदना ही शुरू कर दिया। एक दिन रात को रुका मैं जनता के बीच में, तो जनता में विश्वास आ गया भाई ये कुआं खोद के ही जाएंगे, तो अपना आप चीज़ें ठीक हो गई। ये कुछ चीज़ें मैं कहना चाह रहा था। जैसे अभी एक विषय बहुत अच्छा देखे गए परमेश्वर जी, इकोनॉमी। अब इकोनॉमी क्या है? अब जैसे मैं टूरिज्म की कुछ चीज़ें कह रहा था, जैसे मैंने आपको कहा विलेज टूरिज्म है, नाइट टूरिज्म है। हम थाईलैंड में देखा नाइट टूरिज्म तेजी से बढ़ रहा है, हमारे यहाँ क्यों नहीं हो सकता जी नाइट टूरिज्म? आपका मेडिकल टूरिज्म, आपने अच्छा जिक्र किया, आज चेन्नई में मेडिकल टूरिज्म हब बन रहा है। बहुत लोग, पांडिचेरी भी हब बन रहा है, बहुत से लोग इलाज कराना आते हैं, इलाज भी सस्ता है, डॉक्टर की आंखें ठीक, इसको बढ़ाया जा सकता है। आयुष का भी टूरिज्म बहुत तेजी से बढ़ा है, स्पिरिचुअल टूरिज्म की मैंने बात की, रिलीजियस की बात की। अब एक विषय जो देखे गए परमेश्वर जी है इकोनॉमी, कि इकोनॉमी से जुड़ी भी एक्टिव, होटल इंडस्ट्री वाला, टैक्सी वाला, ट्रांसपोर्ट वाला, ये टूरिज्म से जुड़ा रहता है। कोविड आया तो ये हम और जी किशन रेड्डी जी एक जगह गए थे, कुशीनगर एयरपोर्ट का उद्घाटन करने, प्रधानमंत्री जी भी थे, तो वहाँ इन ट्रांसपोर्ट वालों ने रोक लिया, आप भी थे अरविंद जी, और कितना हंगामा कर रहे थे। अब ये तेजी से, अब पूछता हूँ मैं वहाँ फोन करके, बोल साहब हमारे होटल पूरे बुक है, इसका मतलब हमारे फंडामेंटल ठीक थे, तेजी से इकोनॉमी बढ़ी। अब इकोनॉमी में क्या है साहब? इकोनॉमी में एक सब्जेक्ट आता है जिसका नाम है 3 अक्षरों का, उसको बोलते हैं हम जीडीपी। अब ये जीडीपी क्या है, इसको हम कई बार नहीं समझते हैं, तो हम टूरिज्म को भी नहीं बढ़ा सकते। जीडीपी में 3 शब्द ही नहीं है, 3 कंपोनेंट है, और उससे 3 कंपोनेंट से मिलकर के जीडीपी बनती है। 1 इज कंजम्पशन। अब वो कंजम्पशन कितने परसेंट है? वो 67 to 70% कंजम्पशन है। किसी भी देश का कंजम्पशन जीडीपी में बहुत बड़ा रोल अदा करता है। इंडिया में किसी कंट्री का 50% हो सकता है, किसी का 55। इंडिया में कंजम्पशन वेरी करता है 67 to 70%, एंड दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। अब कंजम्पशन कौन बढ़ाएगा? कोई आदमी घर से बाहर निकलेगा तो टैक्सी लेगा, बस लेगा, रेल लेगा, एयर में चढ़ेगा, घर से बाहर निकलेगा तब कंजम्पशन बढ़ेगा ना। होटल में ठहरेगा, खाना खाएगा, घूमेगा, तो कंजम्पशन बढ़ेगा, तो टूरिज्म बढ़ेगा, तो जीडीपी में भी योगदान होगा भाई साहब, ध्यान रखना, क्योंकि वो 67 to 70% वेरी करता है। अब जीडीपी में दूसरा कंपोनेंट है, उसको बोलता है इन्वेस्टमेंट। इन्वेस्टमेंट भी 2 तरह का है, एक है गवर्नमेंट इन्वेस्टमेंट जिसको हम पब्लिक इन्वेस्टमेंट बोलते हैं, और एक है प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टमेंट। तो हम प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टमेंट को तेजी से बढ़ाना पड़ेगा। होटल इंडस्ट्री हो, चाहे ट्रांसपोर्ट हो, चाहे और कोई फैसिलिटी हो, रोपवे टेक्नोलॉजी किसी में भी आए हो, उसको तेजी से बढ़ाना पड़ेगा। गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से पब्लिक इन्वेस्टमेंट भी बढ़ रहा है, लेकिन जब तक हम पब्लिक और प्राइवेट दोनों इन्वेस्टमेंट को जोड़ करके इन्वेस्टमेंट को नहीं बढ़ाएंगे, अभी वो वेरी कर रहा है हमारे यहाँ 28% से 28 से 30, तो हमें उसको 30 तक ले जाना है। हमारे प्लानर कहते हैं 30 इज द बेस्ट, लेकिन वो कम है, कंजम्पशन भी थोड़ा कम है, तो हम उसकी पूर्ति कहां से करते हैं? तीसरा कंपोनेंट जीडीपी का है एक्सपोर्ट। एक्सपोर्ट भी हम तब करते हैं, एक तो जब मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करते हैं वो तो विषय है ही, लेकिन हम चीजें ज्यादा बनाएं तब हम एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं। जैसे 1 डिस्ट्रिक्ट 1 प्रोडक्ट, बिल्कुल बात ठीक करके गए थे परमेश्वर जी। अब जैसे ये आपका ये क्या कंसेप्ट है, छोटा सा कंसेप्ट है, अमृत भारत स्टेशन रेलवे। अब अमृत भारत रेलवे स्टेशन, इसमें 15 से 20-30 करोड़ रुपए एक स्टेशन पे खर्च होंगे, और उस स्टेशन पे क्या बिकेगा? 1 स्टेशन 1 प्रोडक्ट। उसी एरिया का ही प्रोडक्ट उस स्टेशन पे एक दुकान दे करके बेचा जाएगा। इसका मतलब हम एक्सपोर्ट को बढ़ा रहे हैं। कोई फॉरेन टूरिस्ट आया, कोई हमने भी आगे उसका आगे बढ़ गया, उसने कहा हमारे देश में इसको भेज दे रहा, तुम्हारा बहुत अच्छा हैंडीक्राफ्ट का आइटम है। हम और सतपाल महाराज एक जगह गए थे तो एक एग्जीबिशन देखने, तो वहाँ उसी समय हम गए हुए थे, तभी फॉरेन आपका बाहर आ गया, तो वो हैंडीक्राफ्ट के आइटम को कितना ही बड़ा ऑर्डर दे गया, उसका 2-3 साल का ऑर्डर दे गया। क्या है ये? इसका मतलब ये टूरिज्म के माध्यम से हम एक्सपोर्ट भी बढ़ा सकते हैं। तो जीडीपी के 3 कंपोनेंट, कंजम्पशन नंबर 1, नंबर 2 इन्वेस्टमेंट, नंबर 3 एक्सपोर्ट, ये तीनों ही टूरिज्म सेक्टर से बढ़ सकते हैं। इसलिए प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा है कि टूरिज्म अकेला डिपार्टमेंट काम नहीं करे, इसके साथ 20 ऐसे डिपार्टमेंट जो रिलेटेड है, इंक्लूडिंग कल्चर, सभी रिलेटेड है, वो सब काम करेंगे तो टूरिज्म सेक्टर तेजी से इस देश में आगे बढ़ेगा। और हम जब, जैसे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा, 15 स्थान देखिए साल में, अगर हम देखना शुरू कर देंगे, हमारे लोग जाने लग जाएंगे, तो देखो अपना देश का जो लॉन्च किया है, तो मुझे लगता है कि हम तेजी से टूरिस्ट सेक्टर को बढ़ा सकेंगे। मुझे जी किशन रेड्डी जी की जगह आपने बुलाया था, मैंने कोशिश की है जस्टिस करने की, नहीं जस्टिस हुआ तो माफ कर देना, हुआ तो ताली बजा देना। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Let's give the minister a very, very warm round of applause. I think he did full justice. And I think, it's fortuitous that you're here because you brought out so many good aspects of it. Thank you very much for it. Akshita, may I now invite you?
Thank you very much, sir. Request you to stay on to the stage because this is the part that we've all been waiting for, essentially, where we announce the India Today Tourism Awards. Raj has already given you a sense of how we've chosen the winners. I'm going to be reading out the category, then reading out the winner state, followed by the Editor's Choice Award for Best Emerging Destination as well. Let's start with, personally, my favorite category, Best Adventure Destination. The winner state is Himachal Pradesh, Kulu for river rafting. Can I request Harshvardhan Chauhan, Minister for Industries, Himachal Pradesh, to please come up on the stage, sir, to receive the award. A round of applause, please. Himachal Pradesh, Kulu river rafting. Congratulations, sir. The Editor's Choice Award, Best Emerging Destination in Adventure Destination, is Gulmarg, Jammu and Kashmir. Can I request Dr. Alyaz Ahmed, Deputy Director, Tourism, Jammu and Kashmir Government, to please come up on the dais? Congratulations, sir. Congratulations to the Jammu and Kashmir Government Tourism Department. So our next category is Best Beaches and Coastal Destinations. No guesses here. The winner state is South Goa Tourism, Rajbagh Beach. Can I have IAS Sanjeev Ahuja, Secretary of Tourism in Goa, to please come up on the dais? A round of applause, please, for the Goa Tourism Department. Mr. Ahuja, would you like to say a few words as well, sir?
First of all, I would like to thank India Today for choosing Goa for this award. And we are promoting Goa beyond beaches also. So I'm hoping that in the next few years, we'll get awards for other things also besides beaches. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Congratulations once again. The Editor's Choice Award for Best Beaches and Coastal Destination goes to Lemur Beach, Tamil Nadu. Can I have Mr. Sandeep Nanduri, Director, Tourism and Managing Director of Tamil Nadu Tourism Development Corporation, here on the stage, please. A round of applause, please. Tamil Nadu Tourism Department winning the Editor's Choice Award. Mr. Nanduri will be joining us on a panel later, so I'll get his words then. Thank you very much and congratulations. Best Spiritual Destination, something that Meghwalji also mentioned. The winner state is Punjab for Golden Temple, Amritsar. Unfortunately, we don't have a representative with us, but congratulations to the Punjab government on that award. The Editor's Choice Award for Best Spiritual Destination goes to Kurukshetra, Haryana. And can I invite her on stage, MG Sinha, IAS Officer, Principal Secretary of Tourism in Haryana government, please, onto the stage. A round of applause, please, for the Haryana government.
कर्म किए जा फल की चिंता मत करे इंसान, जैसे कर्म करेगा वैसे फल देगा भगवान। लेकिन आज श्री कृष्ण होते तो ये जरूर कहते कि कर्म की परिभाषा अपने हिसाब से मत बना तू है इंसान। तो आज जो ये हरियाणा को अवार्ड मिला है, क्योंकि टूरिज्म के क्षेत्र में हरियाणा ने और 2 बड़े आयाम अभी स्थापित किए हैं। एक तो जिसका ये आज इंडिया टुडे की तरफ से अवार्ड मिला है, मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा टीम का, कि गीता महोत्सव हम लोगों ने 19 नवंबर से 6 दिसंबर तक मनाया, अंतर्राष्ट्रीय गीता महोत्सव। और इसके बाद अरविंद सिंह जी बैठे हुए हैं आपके नेतृत्व के अंदर, हमारे एमडी सिन्हा जी ACS हैं टूरिज्म के, इनके नेतृत्व के अंदर हम लोगों ने अभी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय हस्तशिल्प मेला सूरजकुंड के अंदर आयोजित किया। और आप लोगों को जानकर खुशी भी होगी और गर्व भी होगा कि 40 से ज़्यादा देशों ने उसमें पार्टिसिपेट किया और 17 दिन के मेले के अंदर 17 दिन से 17 लाख लोगों से ज़्यादा हमारा फुटफॉल रहा। तो ये 2 बड़े आयाम किए हैं। और मेरा ये मानना है कि पर्यटन को बढ़ाने के लिए मंत्री जी ने अपने सजेशंस दिए, सब लोगों ने अपनी बातें कहीं, हम लोगों ने जो सीखा, जो देखा, जो किया, कि पहले हम अपने एक स्टेट को पार्टनर बनाते थे, फिर हमने नेशन को पार्टनर बनाया, इस बार हमने संघई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कॉरपोरेशन को अपना पार्टनर बनाया। तो क्या इस टूरिज्म को बढ़ाने के लिए हम बाकी प्रदेश इस देश के एक दूसरे का सहयोग करके इसको आगे नहीं बढ़ा सकते क्या? इस विषय पर विचार करना चाहिए। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, सबका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
Dhanyawad, sir, and congratulations to you on the award. Before we present the rest of the awards, can I also request Mr. Arvind Singh to join us here on the stage to hand over the awards as well, please? Thank you, sir. So our next category is the most scenic road, and the winner state is Himachal Pradesh again. Mr. Harshvardhan Chauhan, Minister for Industries, Himachal Pradesh. Sir, can you come onto the stage? This is for the Shimla-Kinnaur Road in Himachal Pradesh. A round of applause, please, for Himachal. Congratulations again, sir. The Editor's Choice Award for Most Scenic Road goes to Rajasthan for the Udaipur to Jodhpur Highway. Can I request Dharmendra Rathore, Chairman of Rajasthan Tourism Development Corporation, to come onto the stage, please? And also Ms. Gayatri Rathore, Principal Secretary of the Tourism Department. A round of applause, please, for the Rajasthan Tourism Department. Mr. Rathore, can I request you to say a few words as well, sir?
इंडिया टुडे के इस बहुत ही एक शानदार कार्यक्रम में हमारे राजस्थान के बीकानेर के सांसद और भारत सरकार में कला और संस्कृति मंत्री आदरणीय मेघवाल साहब और तमाम जो अलग अलग प्रदेशों के मिनिस्टर और सेक्रेटरीज हैं और इंडिया टुडे परिवार, सबसे पहले मैं राजस्थान की तरफ से, राजस्थान सरकार की तरफ से आपको बधाई देता हूँ, शुभकामनाएं देता हूँ। आपने बहुत ही अच्छा कार्यक्रम शुरू किया और राजस्थान टूरिज़्म के बारे में तो मैं समझता हूँ को बताने की ज़रूरत नहीं। अगर पूरी दुनिया का टूरिस्ट है, मैं भी, हमारा प्रतिनिधिमंडल गायत्री जी, हम अभी यूरोप भी जाके आए हैं, फितूर में, पूरा दुनिया का टूरिस्ट का सबसे नंबर 1 चॉइस है वो राजस्थान। और राजस्थान का जो स्लोगन है, राजस्थान में जो टूरिस्ट आता है, बाकी तो सब दुनिया में हम अलग अलग जगह आपको जो कुदरत के द्वारा दिया हुआ, कहीं पहाड़ है, कहीं समुद्र है, कहीं नदी है, बाकी राजस्थान राजस्थान है। राजस्थान की मेहमान नवाजी, राजस्थान की आओ भगत, ये अपने आप में मैं नहीं समझता कि पूरी दुनिया में कहीं भी होगी। सतपाल महाराज विराजमान है, मतलब राजस्थान आने का मतलब है, हम आरटीडीसी एक ट्रेन चलाती है पैलेस ऑन व्हील्स, पूरी दुनिया की जो लग्जरी ट्रेन है उनमें से एक वो भी ट्रेन है लग्जरी। उस ट्रेन में 82 से हम चला रहे हैं उसको, 82 से। अभी कोविड के दौरान बंद हो गई थी, वापस शुरू की है। मैं उसके बारे में ये बताना चाह रहा हूँ कि उसमें 7 दिन का ट्रिप होता है। दिल्ली से चलती है, जयपुर जाती है, जयपुर से सवाई माधोपुर जाती है, जहाँ टाइगर की सफारी के लिए पूरी दुनिया के लोग आते हैं। वहाँ से चित्तौड़ जाती है, चित्तौड़ का किला पूरी दुनिया में जाना जाता है। वहाँ से उदयपुर जाती है जो झीलों की नगरी है, और आजकल अंतर्राष्ट्रीय वेडिंग डेस्टिनेशन उदयपुर बन गया है। उसके बाद वहाँ जैसलमेर जाती है। मंत्री जी ने बताया कि जहाँ के दोहरों के बारे में पूरी दुनिया में लोग आते हैं। और जैसलमेर से जोधपुर आती है, और जोधपुर से भरतपुर का जो बर्ड सेंचुरी देखते हुए आगरा आती है, और आगरा से दिल्ली। ये 7 दिन का ट्रिप है, करीब 4 लाख रुपए किराया है। उस 7 दिन के बाद जब टूरिस्ट उतरता है ट्रेन से, जब वो जाता है, मैंने खुद ने उसमें लगातार 5-6 दिन की यात्रा की है, और ज़्यादातर टूरिस्ट विदेशी होता है। जब वो टूरिस्ट उतर के जाता है, मैं इंडिया टुडे परिवार को खास तौर पे आपके माध्यम से बता रहा हूँ कि जब यात्री उतर के जाता है तो हमारे जो आरटीडीसी के जो कर्मचारी हैं वो इतनी खिदमत करते हैं, इतनी सेवा करते हैं उनकी, कि बहुत टूरिस्ट के आंखों से आंसू, जब वो बिछुड़ते हैं तो उनके आंखों से आंसू आने लग जाते हैं। ऐसी हमारे राजस्थान की आवभगत है, ऐसी हमारी मेहमान नवाजी है। इसलिए आप सब ने हमको बुलाया, याद किया, इसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
Very wonderfully put, sir. Thank you so much and congratulations. So let's move on to the next category, which is the best wildlife destination. The winner state is Odisha for the Bhitarkanika National Park. Can I request IAS Sachin Jadhav, Director of Tourism of the Odisha government, to join us here on the stage. A warm round of applause, please, as Odisha has won the best wildlife destination. Congratulations, sir. Now, in the Best Wildlife Destination, we actually have 2 Editor's Choice Awards for the Best Emerging Destination. And I'll read out both. The first is Namdapha National Park and Tiger Reserve in Arunachal Pradesh. Can I request Mitali Namchum, IAS Officer, Special Resident Commissioner of Arunachal Bhavan in New Delhi, to join us here on the dais, please, to receive the award. Congratulations, ladies. Now, in the Best Wildlife Destination, the second Editor's Choice Award goes to Madhya Pradesh for the Satpura National Park. And can I request Mr. L. Krishnamurthy, Field Director of the Satpura Tiger Reserve, as well as Dr. Neelam Rawat, HOD Social Media and Digital Marketing of the Madhya Pradesh Tourism Board, to join us here on the dais, please. A round of applause, please, for Madhya Pradesh for winning the Editor's Choice Award in Best Wildlife Destination. Over to the next category, which is the Best Iconic Landscape. The winner state is once again Odisha for the Sun Temple Konark. So can I have Mr. Sachin Jadhav back on the dais, please, to receive the award? Congratulations again, sir. The Editor's Choice Award for Best Iconic Landscape goes to Gujarat Tourism for the Statue of Unity in Kevadia of Gujarat. Can I have Mr. Udit Agarwal, Chief Administrator of the Statue of Unity, and Khyati Naik, Officer of Gujarat Tourism, here with us on the dais, please. A round of applause, please, for Gujarat Tourism Department.
Check. Thank you so much, India Today Group, for presenting this award to the Statue of Unity. All I would like to say is that we opened the Statue of Unity, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री के कर कमलों से 31 अक्टूबर 2018 को स्टैचू ऑफ यूनिटी खुला। लोगों ने केवड़िया के अंदर स्टैचू ऑफ यूनिटी है, जो विश्व का सबसे बड़ा, सबसे टॉलेस्ट मॉन्यूमेंट स्टैचू है। लोग सोचते थे कि वो आएंगे 2 घंटे में स्टैचू देख के चले जाएंगे, बट 4 साल के अंदर हमने 19 और अट्रैक्शंस ऐड कर लिए हैं। तो अब जो लोग सोचते हैं सुबह आएंगे दोपहर को निकल जाएंगे, दे आर कंपेल्ड टू स्टे फॉर 2 days एंड स्पेंड 1 night देयर, एंड वी आर कमिटेड कि उनको कम से कम 1 हफ्ता रुकना पड़े आने वाले समय में। आई वुड से दैट इफ़ यू लुक एट इंडिया, तो हमारे जो टूरिस्ट डेस्टिनेशंस हैं, मोस्ट ऑफ देम बिल्ड ऑन द पास्ट, बट द स्टैचू ऑफ यूनिटी builds not just in the past but also the future. Thank you so much.
And I would like to add few lines on this because गुजरात नाम ही काफ़ी है। गुजरात की खुशबू हर हमेशा देश विदेश में फैली हुई है, और हमारे जो ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर जब वहाँ के सीएम थे तब उनके विजन और गाइडेंस के अंडर में गुजरात टूरिज़्म ईयर बाय ईयर एक नई नई हाइट्स, नई नई ऊंचाइयाँ सर करता जा रहा है। और जैसे सर ने बताया कि जो स्टैच्यू ऑफ यूनिटी है जो वर्ल्ड क्लास डेस्टिनेशन बन चुका है, एंड ऐसे ही हम बहुत सारे डेस्टिनेशंस को गुजरात में प्रमोट कर रहे हैं। वी आर डेवलपिंग गुजरात एज एन ऑल राउंड डेवलपमेंट डेस्टिनेशन। जैसे मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ टूरिज़्म के बहुत सारे इनिशिएटिव्स हैं जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट, सस्टेनेबल टूरिज़्म, रिस्पॉन्सिबल टूरिज़्म, ग्रीन टूरिज़्म एंड ऑफ कोर्स रूरल टूरिज़्म विद द पीपल्स कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन जो काम कर रहा है। गुजरात इज़ वेरी मच फोकस्ड ऑन दोज लाइन्स एंड वी आर कमिटेड फॉर ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एज अ होल, एंड वी वुड डेफिनेटली से कि सारे स्टेट्स, सारे प्रांत, सारे एरियाज ऑफ इंडिया मिलके एक साथ जुड़े और हमारे भारत को एक इनक्रेडिबल डेस्टिनेशन बनाए, एंड वर्ल्ड क्लास वी कैन स्प्रेड अ मैसेज कि इंडिया इज़ कल्चरली वेरी रिच, एंड हम हमारी कल्चर, हमारी धरोहर, हमारी सारी जो भी हिस्टोरिक अचीवमेंट्स हैं उनको आगे लेके जाएं। एंड अतिथि देवो भव, थैंक यू सो वेरी मच इंडिया टुडे ग्रुप फॉर रिकग्नाइजिंग एंड adjudging दिस अवार्ड टू गुजरात, द ग्रेट डेस्टिनेशन एज ऑलवेज। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you and congratulations once again to the Gujarat Tourism Department. Let's move on to our next category, the Best Heritage Destination. The winner state is Uttar Pradesh for Taj Mahal. Can I invite her on to the stage, Anju Chaudhary, Regional Tourist Officer, please. A round of applause, please, for Uttar Pradesh. Congratulations to the Uttar Pradesh Tourism Department. So in the Best Heritage Destination, we have 2 Editor's Choice Awards this time. The first one goes to the Chhattisgarh Tourism Department. Sirpur Chhattisgarh is the winner. Can I request Bhavna Srivastava of the Chhattisgarh Tourism Board to join us here on the dais and receive the award, please. A huge round of applause, please, for Chhattisgarh for winning the Editor's Choice Award in Best Heritage Destination. Congratulations, ma'am. Congratulations to the Chhattisgarh government. The Editor's Choice Award for Best Heritage Destination also goes to Rajgir, Nalanda, Bihar. Can I have Mr. Abhay Kumar Singh, Secretary of the Tourism Department, here on the stage as we welcome him with a warm round of applause, please. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations to the Bihar Tourism Department. Our next category is the Best Festival Destination. The winner state, it's a hat trick for Odisha because the winner state is Odisha for the Rath Yatra in Puri. Mr. Sachin Jadhav, can we have you back on the dais, please? Can we have a round of applause, please, for the Odisha government? Third award today for Odisha. The Editor's Choice Award for Best Festival Destination goes to Karnataka for the Mysore Dasara. Can I invite on to the stage here IAS Dr. Ram Prasad Manohar, Director of Department of Tourism. Congratulations to Karnataka for the annual Mysore Dasara. Mr. Manohar, can I request you to also say a few words, please?
Very good morning to all of you, and I thank the organizers, India Today and Manya Mandriji for presenting this award to Karnataka State. It is always known for the hospitality, and this Dasara festival is well known across the world, and it is initiated 500 years back by the Vijayanagara Empire by Krishnadevaraya. And during this festival, Vijayanagara Empire time, Krishnadevaraya invited all across the world about ambassadors and kings of various countries. So it shows the confidence of the king and also the culture of the state. So I welcome all of you for the festivals, and we have many more festivals to celebrate. Welcome all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I'm sure everyone here will take you up on that invite as well. Our next category is the Best Mountain Destination. And the winner is Himachal Pradesh. Third time hat trick for Himachal as well. Close competition to Odisha. Mr. Harshvardhan Chauhan, Minister for Industries, here on the stage, receiving the award for Shimla, Himachal Pradesh, as well as for Manali. Congratulations again, sir. So what about the Editor's Choice Award for Best Mountain Destination? The winner is the Uttarakhand government for Munsiari. I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Satpal Maharaj, Minister for Tourism and Panchayati Raj. Congratulations, sir. Can we have a round of applause, please, for the Uttarakhand government?
मैं इंडिया टुडे को थैंक्स कहना चाहता हूं। इसके साथ साथ आप सभी को आमंत्रित करता हूं कि देवभूमि उत्तराखंड में आइए, देवताओं का आशीर्वाद प्राप्त कीजिए और स्वर्ग का आनंद लीजिए। धन्यवाद।
Thank you very much, sir, and congratulations to the Uttarakhand government. Our last category in the India Today Tourism Awards is Tourism Innovation, and the Editor's Choice Award for Tourism Innovation goes to Kerala for caravan tourism. And I'd like to invite onto the stage Mr. Sri Kumar, the Delhi Tourism Information Officer for Kerala. Congratulations, a big round of applause, please, for the Kerala government for the initiative of caravan tourism. Mr. Sri Kumar, I request you to stay on. Can I have all of the awardees please to join us on the stage with your trophy so we can get also that photo with Mr. Megwal? Mr. Arun Puri, could you please join us here on the stage, sir? Congratulations once again to all the awardees. Your hard work has ensured that we've changed the face of Indian tourism. I'd also like to thank Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal for taking the time out for joining us here at the India Today Tourism Conclave. Sir, बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ यहाँ पे आने के लिए और इतने short notice में भी. Can we have a round of applause, please, for Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal? Thank you, sir. Give us a few moments as we set up for our next session, which is going to be a very interesting one. Our next session is called Center State Synergies in Tourism Policy. Can I invite onto the dais Mr. Harshvardhan Chauhan, Minister for Industries, Himachal Pradesh. I also request Mr. Satpal Maharaj, Minister of Public Works Department, Tourism, Irrigation, Minor Irrigation, Rural Works Department, Panchayati Raj, Watershed Management, Culture, Spiritual Development, and Indian Nepal Uttarakhand River Projects up on the stage, please. So this session is going to be a very interesting one. It's on Center State Synergies in Tourism Policy. Can I request Mr. Satpal Maharaj to please speak first on this issue, to please address the crowd here. Thank you, sir.
सम्मानित अर्जुन राम मेघवाल जी जो अभी जिन्होंने प्रस्थान किया है, श्री धर्मेंद्र राठौड़ जी, हर्षवर्धन चौहान जी, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इंडस्ट्री हिमाचल प्रदेश, अरविंद सिंह जी, सेक्रेटरी टूरिज्म गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, श्री राज चन्नप्पा जी जो एडिटोरियल डायरेक्टर हैं इंडिया टुडे के, और सभी उपस्थित महानुभाव। अभी अभी मंत्री जी ने अपने संबोधन में बहुत से विचारों को प्रेषित किया और निश्चित रूप में टूरिज़्म जो है ब्रेड एंड बटर ऑफ हमारे देश का है और इसको बढ़ाने के लिए हमें नित्य नए नए विचार और अभियान शुरू करने चाहिए। सबसे पहले मैं ध्यान आकर्षित करूंगा कि जो हमारी सभ्यता है, हमारी सिविलाइजेशन है, उस पर थोड़ा ध्यान देने की बात है। हमारी जो हड़प्पन सिविलाइजेशन, इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन और वैदिक सिविलाइजेशन, उसका उत्खनन हो रहा है और सोनौली के अंदर अब चैरियट्स निकली हैं। हज़ारों साल पुरानी हमारी सभ्यता है, उसका निश्चित रूप में जो ASI द्वारा, आर्कियोलॉजिकल सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया द्वारा उसका उत्खनन होना चाहिए। और ढोलावीरा के अंदर, राखीगढ़ के अंदर जो निकल रहे हैं, हमारे उत्तराखंड में भी लखुडियार है जहाँ पर केव पेंटिंग्स हैं 5000 साल पुरानी। आज के पेंटिंग्स वहाँ नज़र आती हैं और उसको टूरिज़्म में हम प्रमोट कर रहे हैं ताकि हम जनता को बता सकें कि कितनी पुरानी हमारी सिविलाइजेशन है, कितनी पुरानी हमारी सभ्यता है। इसके साथ साथ हम लोगों को थोड़ा ये भी सोचना होगा कि जो हमारे 4 धाम हैं, यमुनोत्री, गंगोत्री, केदार, बद्री, जिसको कि हम लोग काफ़ी प्रोत्साहित कर रहे हैं, और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भी केदारनाथ धाम के पुनर्निर्माण में पूरा अपना अपना सहयोग दिया है। बल्कि उनकी ही ये योजना है। वर्ष 2013 में आई भीषण प्राकृतिक आपदा के उपरांत श्री केदारनाथ धाम पुनर्निर्माण के उद्देश्य से श्री केदारनाथ उत्थान चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट वर्ष 2017 में स्थापना की गई। श्री केदारनाथ उत्थान चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट द्वारा भारत सरकार के सार्वजनिक उपक्रम CSR मद के अंतर्गत प्रथम चरण में 225 करोड़ के कार्य पूर्ण कराए जा चुके हैं और दूसरे चरण में 189 करोड़ के कार्य जो हैं गतिमान हैं। तो केदारनाथ धाम के बाद बद्रीनाथ धाम भी माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के निर्देशों पे काम हो रहा है, जिसको हम स्मार्ट स्पिरिचुअल हिल टाउन के रूप में विकसित करने जा रहे हैं। 273 करोड़ के कार्य उसमें जो हैं पूरे कराए जा रहे हैं और इसमें लगभग 160 करोड़ रुपए जो है हम व्यय कर चुके हैं। इसके साथ साथ यमुनोत्री के अंदर रोपवेज को हम डेवलप कर रहे हैं और मेरा मानना है कि रोपवेज के साथ साथ हमारे देश के अंदर हमें फर्निकुलर भी डेवलप करना चाहिए। विदेशों के अंदर फर्निकुलर टेक्नोलॉजी जो है, आपने देखा होगा इंटरलाकन से आप जब टिबलिस जाते हैं तो फर्निकुलर रेलवे से जो गरारी पर चलती है उस रेलवे से पहाड़ पर आप पहुंच जाते हैं। तो फर्निकुलर को भी हमें थोड़ा सा महत्व देना है जो हमारे देश के लिए बहुत लाभकारी होगा। इसके साथ साथ हेमकुंड साहब को हम प्रोत्साहित कर रहे हैं और डाइवर्सिफिकेशन के लिए हमने उत्तराखंड के अंदर आप आते हैं क्या क्या देख सकते हैं, उसके लिए हमने डिफरेंट सर्किट्स बनाए हैं, जैसे शाक्त सर्किट, वैष्णव सर्किट, शैव सर्किट, महाशू सर्किट और अनेक सर्किट्स को हमने जो है डिज़ाइन किया है, जिसमें गोलजू सर्किट, गुरुद्वारा सर्किट, हनुमान सर्किट, नाग देवता सर्किट, ये विवेकानंद सर्किट, जहाँ पहुंच करके विवेकानंद जी ने हिमाच्छादित पहाड़ियों को देखा, हिमालय की चोटियों को देखा, वहाँ से प्रेरणा प्राप्त की, वो सब स्थानों को हम टूरिज़्म में प्रोत्साहन देना चाहते हैं। तो ये सर्किट्स हमने बनाए हैं, जिसमें 12 हमने गढ़वाल के 12 कुमाऊँ के स्थानों को चुना, भगवती के मंदिरों को चुना, शंकर भगवान के मंदिरों को चुना, विष्णु भगवान के मंदिरों को चुना और इसको हमने डेवलप किया है जिससे कि यात्री यहाँ जाए। इसमें बहुत प्रचुर मात्रा में हमारे पास बंगाल के यात्री बढ़े हैं, तो निश्चित रूप में। दूसरी हमारी मानसखंड मंदिर माला जो है, इसमें भी हमने 48 जो है प्रमुख ऐतिहासिक पौराणिक दृष्टि से महत्व के मंदिरों को रखा है और इसमें 16 मंदिर चयनित करके हम लोग उसमें अवस्थापना सुविधाओं का विकास कर रहे हैं और इस पर हमारी कार्य जो है हम गतिमान है। इसके बीच में देहरादून मसूरी का जो रोपवे है, इसको हम डेवलप कर रहे हैं ताकि आप आसानी से मसूरी पहुंच सकें और हम अपने उत्तराखंड को वेडिंग डेस्टिनेशन के रूप में प्रमोट कर रहे हैं। त्रिजुगी नारायण एक ऐसा स्थान है केदारनाथ के नज़दीक जहां शंकर और पार्वती का विवाह हुआ, तो उस स्थान को हम वेडिंग डेस्टिनेशन के रूप में प्रमोट कर रहे हैं और भी हमारे मसूरी हुआ, नैनीताल हुआ, अल्मोड़ा हुआ, ये सब हम वेडिंग डेस्टिनेशन के रूप में प्रमोट कर रहे हैं। 3 दुनिया के ऐसे स्पॉट्स हैं, एक माचू पिचू, एक स्टोनहेंज और एक कसार देवी, जहां पर वैन एलन बेल्ट का सबसे ज़्यादा प्रभाव है और वहां पर सेल्फ हीलिंग होती है। अगर आप नंगे पैर वहां पर चलें तो योर बॉडी गेट्स हील्ड। तो ये कसार देवी का स्थान हमारे अल्मोड़ा के नज़दीक है, दूसरा स्थान स्टोनहेंज है और तीसरा स्थान हमारा माचू पिचू है। तो ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट डेस्टिनेशन हमारे उत्तराखंड में है, तो इसके लिए हम लोग प्रयासरत हैं, इसको बढ़ा रहे हैं, प्रमोट कर रहे हैं और इसके साथ साथ माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी का लक्ष्य है कि हरिद्वार के अंदर एक इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट स्टैब्लिश किया जाए, क्योंकि जो विदेश से आने वाले जो यात्री हैं जो चाहते हैं कि सीधे हम 4 धाम यात्रा में पहुँचें, गंगा रिवर राफ्टिंग के लिए हम पहुँचें, ध्यान के लिए हम पहुँचें, वो सीधे हरिद्वार पहुँच सकते हैं। तो हरिद्वार के अंदर इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट बनाने की हम कार्रवाई को हम प्रारंभ कर रहे हैं। इसके साथ साथ कैरावान और कैंपिंग, जिनके पास कैरावान है, कैरावान फॉरेन कंट्री के अंदर आपने देखा होगा, सिटी के अंदर ऐसा कैंपिंग स्पेस होती है जहाँ पर आप अपना कैरावान पार्क कर सकते हैं और आप सिटी के अंदर घूम सकते हैं, उसी को हम डेवलप कर रहे हैं। पौराणिक स्थल के नज़दीक कैरावान और कैंपिंग ग्राउंड उसके लिए जो सस्ते में अपना कैंप लगा करके रहना चाहे, सस्ते में अकोमोडेशन प्राप्त करना चाहे, तो कैरावान और कैंपिंग को हम प्रमोट कर रहे हैं। तो इससे मैं समझता हूं कि उत्तराखंड काफ़ी हमारा और भी टूरिज्म में आगे बढ़ेगा। टेहरी लेक को हम वेडिंग वर्ल्ड क्लास डेस्टिनेशन के रूप में आगे बढ़ाना चाहते हैं, और ये बहुत ज़रूरी है कि टेहरी लेक जो है 40 किलोमीटर्स लंबा है, उसके अंदर एम्फीबियंस हमारे प्लेन्स, सी प्लेन्स होते हैं, वो उतरेंगे, और उसको हम वर्ल्ड क्लास डेस्टिनेशन के रूप में डेवलप करना चाहते हैं। एक दफ़े टेलीविज़न के ऊपर हमारे मलेशियन हाई कमिश्नर देख रहे थे, और हमारा एक क्लिप चला जिसमें कि हम ओली को दिखा रहे थे कि हमारे ओली में स्कीइंग होती है। जब उन्होंने स्कीइंग को देखा तो उन्होंने कहा कि आपके उत्तराखंड में स्कीइंग होती है? मैंने कहा डेफिनेटली योर एक्सीलेंसी। कहने लगे फिर हम स्विट्ज़रलैंड क्यों जाते हैं? तो हमें और भी स्कीइंग में डेवलप करना होगा, और हम ओली से ऊपर एक गौरसों है जहाँ पर गारंटीड स्नो होता है, उसको हम डेवलप कर रहे हैं। तो हमारा ओली का जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है उसको बढ़ा करके हम गौरसों तक ले जाएंगे, तो हमारा स्कीइंग का एक इंटरनेशनल डेस्टिनेशन वहाँ पर हमारा बन जाएगा। तो स्कीइंग बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है। आपके स्विट्ज़रलैंड, फ्रांस, जर्मनी ये स्कीइंग पर डिपेंड करते हैं, तो स्कीइंग को प्रमोट करना पड़ेगा। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का भी लक्ष्य है कि हम स्कीइंग को प्रमोट करें। तो इसके साथ साथ मैं समझता हूँ कि लोकल कुजीन को भी हम डेवलप कर रहे हैं। हमारे यहाँ जो आपने मिलेट्स के बारे में सुना होगा, मंडवे के बारे में सुना होगा, नेटल ग्रास के बारे में सुना होगा, जिसको हम कंडली बोलते हैं। तो जैसे पंजाब के अंदर पंजाब के अंदर आपने देखा होगा सरसों का साग और मक्के की रोटी है, इसी प्रकार से हमारे यहाँ कंडली की भुजी और जो है मंडवे की रोटी को हम प्रोत्साहित कर रहे हैं। तो हमारा जो उत्तराखंड का खान पान है उसको भी आगे हम बढ़ा रहे हैं, और निश्चित रूप में आज पूरी दुनिया आकर्षित हो रही है। और हमारे ऋषिकेश के अंदर G20 की 2 मीटिंग्स होने वाली हैं। तो निश्चित रूप में जो हमारी देव संस्कृति है, जिसमें हमारे देवता नाचते हैं, और हमारी देव संस्कृति के अंदर एक लोहे को गर्म करके और वो उसको चाटते हैं, अपनी शक्ति का प्रदर्शन करते हैं। तो इसका भी इवेंट हम रखने जा रहे हैं कि हमारे उत्तराखंड की क्या संस्कृति है, क्योंकि हमारी संस्कृति में महाभारत का पुट बहुत ज़्यादा है। आपने देखा होगा कि देहरादून जो नाम है, गुरु राम राय ने डेरा डाला, उससे डेरा पड़ा, और द्रोण जो द्रोणाचार्य जी पांडवों को पढ़ाते थे तो वो द्रोण नगरी बन गई। तो हमारे यहाँ आप विकास नगर जाएंगे, लाखा मंडल जाएंगे, वो लाखा मंडल स्थान है जहाँ पर लक्षागृह बनाया गया था पांडवों को मारने के लिए। और आज भी हमारे यहाँ पॉलिएंड्री प्रैक्टिस होती है। पांडवों के 5 भाइयों की एक पत्नी थी, वो प्रैक्टिस आज भी होती है। हमारे यहाँ दुर्योधन का आपको मंदिर मिलेगा, कर्ण का मंदिर मिलेगा। तो निश्चित रूप में उत्तराखंड के अंदर आप लोगों को हम आमंत्रित करते हैं, आइए हमारी देव संस्कृति को देखिए, देवताओं का आशीर्वाद प्राप्त करिए, और हिमाच्छादित पहाड़ियाँ, हमारी जो वैलीज़ हैं, हमारी जो स्पिरिचुअल रिवर्स हैं, उनका आनंद लीजिए। हमारे यहाँ सरयू बहती है, हमारे यहाँ से गंगा का उद्गम शुरू होता है, और हमारे यहाँ से यमुना का उद्गम शुरू होता है। तो ये सब स्थानों के लिए मैं आपको आमंत्रित करता हूँ। हो गई है पीर पर्वत सी पिघलनी चाहिए, इस कॉन्क्लेव से कोई गंगा निकलनी चाहिए। मेरे सीने में ना सही तो तेरे सीने में ही सही, कहीं भी आग लेकिन आग जलनी चाहिए। सिर्फ हंगामा करना मेरा मकसद नहीं, मेरी ये कोशिश है, ये सूरत बदलनी चाहिए। आइए हम देश की सूरत को बदलें, टूरिज्म की सूरत को बदलें। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you very much, sir, for speaking about really what the Uttarakhand tourism success story has been all about. There's a common thread about Himachal and Uttarakhand. The fact that they both are naturally so beautiful, and the governments have used that further to really boost tourism in their respective states. Can I invite now Mr. Harshvardhan Chauhan, Minister for Industries of Himachal Pradesh, to please also speak here.
आदरणीय सतपाल महाराज जी, उत्तराखंड के टूरिज्म मिनिस्टर, उपस्थित सभी डेलीगेट्स, विभिन्न देशों से आए हुए सभी डेलीगेट्स, इंडिया टुडे के सभी लोग, आज मुझे बड़ी खुशी है कि हमें इस इंडिया टुडे के अवार्ड फंक्शन में आने का सौभाग्य प्राप्त हुआ है। हिमाचल प्रदेश के बिहाफ पे मुझे 3 अवार्ड्स प्राप्त करने का सौभाग्य प्राप्त हुआ है। मैं इंडिया टुडे ग्रुप का धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा कि हिमाचल प्रदेश को उन्होंने 3 अवार्ड्स दिए हैं और आज इस मंच के माध्यम से हिमाचल प्रदेश की जो एक पिक्चर है वो पूरे देश में जाएगी। हमारा हिमाचल प्रदेश, जैसे भी सतपाल महाराज जी ने कहा, हम हिमालयाज़ की गोद में बसे हुए, हिमालयाज़ में बसे हुए स्टेट हैं। हम छोटे छोटे स्टेट्स हैं, हमारी अपनी खूबसूरती है, हम स्विट्ज़रलैंड को टक्कर देते हैं। मैं भी सतपाल महाराज से जिक्र कर रहा था, बड़ी बड़ी स्टेट्स है, बहुत लैंड है, अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ रिसोर्सेज है, मगर हिमाचल प्रदेश और पहाड़ी राज्य चाहे नॉर्थ ईस्ट के हैं, चाहे उत्तराखंड है, हिमाचल है, हमारी अपनी अपनी समस्या है। हिमाचल प्रदेश इंडिया में एक टूरिस्ट डेस्टिनेशन, वन ऑफ द मोस्ट बेस्ट डेस्टिनेशन है। हमारा जो मोटो है अतिथि देवो भव, कि जो अतिथि है, जो टूरिस्ट है, वो जो है वो भगवान के स्वरूप है। हम उसका स्वागत करते हैं, अभिनंदन करते हैं। और अभी मुझसे पूर्व वक्ताओं ने कहा कि कोविड के दौरान हमारा जो टूरिज़्म है वो सबसे ज़्यादा सफ़र किया है। हम अब रिवाइव कर रहे हैं। हिमाचल प्रदेश में कोविड से पहले 1,70,00,000 टूरिस्ट आया करता था। हम अभी उस लेवल पे नहीं पहुँचे हैं, मगर हम 1,50,00,000 के करीब जो है हिमाचल प्रदेश में जो है वो टूरिस्ट जो है अब आ रहा है। मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगा, बहुत सारे लोगों को नहीं पता होगा कि जो शिमला है वो ब्रिटिश टाइम में अंग्रेज़ों का समर कैपिटल हुआ करता था। सतपाल जी को तो शायद पता होगा, 1911 से पहले जो है वो समर कैपिटल शिमला था और परमानेंट कैपिटल जो है वह कलकत्ता क्या हुआ करता था। और इंग्लिश का जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन था वो गर्मियों में वो जो है वो शिमला को शिफ्ट कर जाया करता था। आज हमारे मुख्यमंत्री जी, हु इज़ द टूरिज़्म मिनिस्टर, ही वांटेड टू कम, मगर वो नहीं आ पाए क्योंकि हमारा रायपुर में कांग्रेस का एक अधिवेशन हो रहा है और ऑन हिज बिहाफ उन्होंने मुझे जो है यहाँ भेजा है। हमारा अभी आपने हिमाचल में नाम सुना है, मनाली है, धर्मशाला है, शिमला है। ये जो हमारे डेस्टिनेशन है वो सेचुरेशन पॉइंट पे आ चुके हैं। और अभी ठीक कहा बहुत सारे स्पीकर्स ने कि आज जो नॉन डेस्टिनेशंस हैं वहाँ टूरिस्ट नहीं जाना चाह रहा है। आज हमारे शिमला में जब समर्स होंगी, अप्रैल, मई, जून, हमारा शिमला शहर चौक हो जाता है। आपको इतनी चौकिंग, इतनी गाड़ियाँ, इतने रश होगा कि चौकिंग हो जाए। तो क्रॉस दैट टाउन इट टेक्स 1 आवर 2 आवर्स। आज हमने जो हमारा जो है लक्ष्य है हिमाचल प्रदेश का, हमने टूरिज़्म को 5 सेक्टर में कर दिया है। हमारा एडवेंचर टूरिज़्म है, एडवेंचर टूरिज़्म में है पैराग्लाइडिंग है, रॉक क्लाइंबिंग है, ट्रैकिंग है, माउंटेन क्लाइंबिंग है और वाटर राफ्टिंग है, जिसका भी हमें अवार्ड भी, जो कुल्लू में वाटर राफ्टिंग है उसका हमें अवार्ड भी मिला है। दूसरा सेक्टर हमारा रिलीजियस सेक्टर है। हिमाचल जैसे उत्तराखंड में भी 4 धाम हैं, हमारे हिमाचल प्रदेश में भी बहुत बड़े बड़े जो मंदिर हैं, बहुत जहाँ लोगों की बहुत श्रद्धा है। और पूरे नॉर्थ इंडिया के लोग जो आते हैं, हमारे ज्वालामुखी टेम्पल है, चिंतपूर्णी है, चामुंडा देवी है, और हमने एक रिलीजियस सर्किट भी बनाया है कि उसमें लोग जो हैं वो आए। थर्ड हमारा जो है वो हमारा रूरल टूरिज़्म पे हम फोकस कर रहे हैं। आज हम टूरिस्ट को इन बड़े बड़े शहरों से अपने ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में ले जाना चाहते हैं। और हमारे, जैसे आपको पता है, हिमाचल इज़ नोन एज एप्पल स्टेट ऑफ इंडिया। हमारे जो सेब के बगीचे हैं वहाँ पे हमने जो है वो होम स्टे कंसेप्ट शुरू कर दिया है। और आज ये स्थिति है, मैं आपको कहना चाहूँगा, आज ये स्थिति है, कई बार शिमला में जो हमारे इम्पॉर्टेंट स्टेशंस हैं वहाँ पे होटल्स की ऑक्यूपेंसी 100% नहीं होगी। हमारे जो होम स्टे है, हमारे होम स्टे जो रजिस्टर्ड हैं, एग्जैक्ट नंबर नहीं मुझे, मगर इट इज़ इन थाउजेंड्स। और आज लोग जो है वो होम स्टे में जा रहे हैं, होम स्टे में फुल है। आज जो कंसेप्ट है, आज लोग नेचर के नज़दीक जो है वो जाना चाह रहे हैं। हमने तो होम स्टे कंसेप्ट में इनिशियली हम होम स्टे कंसेप्ट में 3 रूम्स किया करते थे। 3 रूम्स पे कोई टैक्स नहीं होगा। अब हमने उसको इंक्रीज़ करके 4 रूम्स का कर दिया है। और होम स्टे पे हम किसी भी प्रकार का हिमाचल गवर्नमेंट जो है वो टैक्स नहीं लेती है, सिर्फ इसलिए कि होम स्टे कंसेप्ट को जो है एनकरेज करें। मेरे से सतपाल महाराज जी और आप में से बहुत सारे लोग सहमत होंगे, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में एक एम्प्लॉयमेंट का एक सैचुरेशन पॉइंट आ चुका है और आज हमारे पास गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में लोगों को रोज़गार देने का साधन नहीं है। हमारे पास केवल और केवल हमारे पास जो है वो टूरिज़्म सेक्टर है। हमारा हिमाचल प्रदेश का एक और जो हमारा है वीकेंड टूरिस्ट हमारे बहुत आता है, क्योंकि हम हरियाणा है, पंजाब है, चंडीगढ़ है, इन स्टेट्स के हम नज़दीक हैं। तो वीकेंड हमारा जो टूरिस्ट है फ्राइडे, सैटरडे और संडे हिमाचल प्रदेश के जो मैक्सिमम होटल्स हैं वो टोटल फुल रहते हैं। और हमारी कोशिश है जो रोड साइड एमिनिटीज़ है उसको हम इम्प्रूव करें। अभी हमारी परवाणू से हमारी शिमला को 4 लेन की कंस्ट्रक्शन हो रही है, अदरवाइज़ इट वाज 2 लेन, अब वो 4 लेन की हमारी कंस्ट्रक्शन हो रही है और उससे जो हमारा टाइम है वो जो है वो हमारा और भी जो है वो कम हो जाएगा। अब ये हमारा शिमला कालका से शिमला जो रेल लाइन है इट वाज बिल्ट बाय ब्रिटिशर्स और वो हमारी हेरिटेज रोड रेल लाइन है, हेरिटेज रेल लाइन है और वो हमारे बहुत अच्छी राइड है। कोई 3-4 घंटे 5 घंटे लगते हैं, मगर रेलवेज़ ने अब जो है वहाँ पे ट्रेन एक न्यू ट्रेन कर रहे हैं, अदरवाइज़ इट वाज स्टीम इंजन वाली ट्रेन थी। अब वो डीजल इंजन से करके वो जो टाइम है ट्रैवलिंग टाइम है वो बहुत कम हो जाएगा और वो बहुत खूबसूरत जो है खूबसूरत साइट है। हम हिमाचल गवर्नमेंट जो है वो कांगड़ा को जो है हम टूरिस्ट कैपिटल बनाने जा रहे हैं। वहाँ पे हम IT पार्क्स, एरो सिटीज़ और हमारे धर्मशाला का जैसे आपको पता है इट इज़ द होम ऑफ दलाई लामा। दलाई लामा वहाँ रहते हैं और दलाई लामा को मिलने, उनको देखने, उनकी बात को सुनने विश्व से जो है वो बहुत सारे टूरिस्ट जो है वो आते हैं। धर्मशाला में हमारा क्रिकेट स्टेडियम है, इट इज़ वन ऑफ द बेस्ट क्रिकेट स्टेडियम इन द वर्ल्ड। वो हमारा जो पहाड़ है धौलाधार्स है उसकी लैप में जो है वो धर्मशाला का स्टेडियम है और उस धौलाधार जो पीक है, धौलाधार माउंटेंस है, उस पर हमेशा जो है पूरे साल जो है वो बर्फ़ रहती है। हमारी कोशिश है हिमाचल प्रदेश में जो है टूरिज़्म जो है वो बड़े, अभी जैसे जिक्र किया सतपाल महाराज जी ने भी कि पहाड़ों में एयर कनेक्टिविटी की बहुत प्रॉब्लम है। आपके तो देहरादून में फिर भी एक बड़ा एयरपोर्ट है, हमारे हिमाचल प्रदेश में धर्मशाला में एयरपोर्ट है, शिमला में एयरपोर्ट है, मनाली में एयरपोर्ट है, कुल्लू में एयरपोर्ट है, मगर हमारे प्लेन्स जो हैं वो छोटे ATR जो है वो लैंड करते हैं। उसकी वजह से जो एयर फेयर है इट इज़ वेरी हाई। समटाइम्स दिल्ली से शिमला का जो एयर फेयर इट इज़ अराउंड अबाउट 20,000 20 हज़ार रुपये होता है। अब वो कोई भी व्यक्ति जो है वो 20,000 के एयर फेयर में शिमला नहीं आएगा, वो आज बाहर या कहीं भी आपने जाना हो 15-20 हज़ार में आप जा सकते हैं। तो एयर कनेक्टिविटी पहाड़ों में हमारी सबसे बड़ी समस्या है। आज टूरिस्ट के पास समय नहीं है, टाइम नहीं है, वो बाय रोड आए और पूरा दिन लगे। और आप मेरे से सहमत होंगे, हमारे यहाँ तो हिमाचल प्रदेश और पहाड़ी राज्य है, वहाँ पे नेचुरल जो बरसात आएंगे तो आपको रोड्स की ब्लॉकेज है, पहाड़ बैठ गया, पहाड़ धंस गया और जो उनकी रेस्टोरेशन, रोड्स की रेस्टोरेशन के लिए पहाड़ी स्टेटों को जो है वो बहुत पैसा खर्च करना पड़ता है। हमारे प्रीवियस गवर्नमेंट में मंडी में इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट का जो है वो प्रोजेक्ट चला हुआ था, मगर अभी तक नहीं हुआ है। हमारी कोशिश है कि हम उस इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट हिमाचल प्रदेश में भी एक बड़ा एयरपोर्ट हो जहाँ पे बड़े बड़े प्लेन्स लैंड करें और हमारा जो एयर फेयर है वो जो है वो कम हो जाए। अभी आपने जैसे जिक्र किया सतपाल महाराज जी ने, हमारा उत्तराखंड और हमारा पहाड़ का कल्चर तो एक जैसा है। मेरी जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी है वो उनके उत्तराखंड के साथ जो है लगती हुई कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी है। हमारा जो लोकल हमारा जो खान पान है, हमारे यहाँ तो हम फूड फेस्टिवल करते हैं। हिमाचल प्रदेश में हर साल हमारा फूड फेस्टिवल हुआ करता है जिसमें हम हिमाचल प्रदेश के हमारे जो पहाड़ी व्यंजन हैं, पहाड़ी हमारी पुरानी चीज़ें हैं, उसको जो है हम लोगों को सर्व करते हैं। और विशेष करके कि जो नई जनरेशन है वो आज जो है वो नई नई चीज़ों की ओर आकर्षित हो रही है और पुरानी चीज़ों को भूल रही है। तो हम हिमाचल प्रदेश में फूड फेस्टिवल भी ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं। हमारा रीति रिवाज, हमारे जो गाने हैं, हमारे जो डांस है, हमारे जो पहाड़ी नाटी है, आपको याद देखा होगा आपने, हमारी जो पहाड़ी नाटी है वो आज हम प्रमोट करते हैं। हमारे फेस्टिवल्स होंगे या हमारा कोई फंक्शन होगा हम उसको प्रमोट करते हैं। हमारा पुराना कल्चर, अभी सतपाल महाराज जी ने जो टोपी पहनी है दिट इज़ हिमाचली कैप। और हिमाचल प्रदेश में हमारी चंबा का रुमाल है, हमारी जो वेशभूषा है, हमारी जैकेट्स है, हमारे लोहिया है, वो एक पहाड़ी जो कल्चर है वो हमने उसको प्रिजर्व करके जो हमने रखा हुआ है। मैं ज़्यादा लंबी बात ना करता हुआ धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा इंडिया टुडे ग्रुप का और एडिटर राज चिंगप्पा जी का, इन्होंने हमें आमंत्रित किया है, हमें आज इन्होंने अवार्ड दिया है और हमें अपनी बात रखने का एक नेशनल लेवल पे मौका दिया है। मैं आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा। जय हिंद, जय हिमाचल।
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you to both Satpal Maharaj ji as well as Mr. Harshvardhan Chauhan for joining us here at the India Today Tourism Conclave. A big round of applause for the ministers, please. Both of them speaking to us about the Pahari culture and how important it is for all of us also to do our bit to boost domestic tourism. Thank you very much, sir. Just give us a few moments as we set up for our next session. It's going to be a very interesting one with most of our award winners here on stage as well. The theme of the session, Making the Old New Again. What role should the state play? So let's begin our next session, Making the Old New Again. What role should the state play? And for this session, I'd like to invite here onto the stage Gayatri Rathore, Principal Secretary, Tourism Department of Rajasthan. Can we welcome her with a round of applause, please? Also joining her here on the dais is Mr. Abhay Kumar Singh, Secretary of the Tourism Department in Bihar, Mr. Sandeep Nanduri, Director, Tourism and Managing Director of Tamil Nadu Tourism Development Corporation. Mr. Sachin Jadhav, Director of the Department of Tourism, Odisha. And finally, Mr. Aman Nath, Founder and Chairman of Nimrana Hotels. First of all, congratulations to all of you for winning the awards today at the India Today Tourism Awards. Gayatri Rathore, can I start with you for your opening remarks? Your state won an award today as well, so congratulations on that. What is the success story for Rajasthan, and what role to you should the state play in promoting tourism?
Yeah. Thank you, Akshita. Very good afternoon to all of you, esteemed members of the panel, and all the ladies and gentlemen sitting. Well, thanks for the award also, but I think we deserved more.
You can take a few from Odisha. I think they got most of it.
No, we'll fight for it and then we'll get. Rajasthan has traditionally been a very touristic destination and has always had an edge over other places. So when other states were just beginning to think about tourism, I think in the early 80s and mid 80s and 90s, Rajasthan was way ahead. And we have tried to keep up to the times, evolving over the times, because we have some very strong natural assets, we have cultural assets, we have heritage assets, all you can say a 360-degree experience our state has to offer. But in the coming times, now we realize that we need to diversify. So the first thing is to give support and hand-holding to the tourism and hospitality sector. So I'm very happy to share this platform that our Honorable Chief Minister has accorded industry status to tourism and hospitality sector, which is a very big and very, I would say, a revolutionary step. Because now the existing tourism and hospitality units, they are enjoying almost 1/3 reduced tariffs in electricity, the urban development tax, all the other taxes, they have been substantially reduced, and we have introduced very progressive steps for facilitating the setting up of new tourism units. So I think this is one step which Rajasthan is going ahead to market itself not only as a tourist destination, but also, as Honorable Minister Sir was saying in the morning, as the destination for investment in tourism. And our USP, of course, has been, in addition to the varied cultural landscape and natural flora and fauna, we are now focusing on rural tourism. I think that is one big thing, one big sector, which will not only provide huge employment opportunities to our rural folks, but also open avenues for the tourists. And now with leisure coming in, work from home coming in, we are now giving the tagline, work from palace, work from farmhouse, work from a caravan park, that kind of thing. So I think that is one big step that we have taken.
Imagine that, work from a palace now as well. That's something that's been made possible. Sandeep Nanduri, you're representing Tamil Nadu here. I'm from Chennai.
Oh.
My family lives in Kodaikanal, which is a very popular tourist destination. It's a hill station in Tamil Nadu. Now, when I have to travel from Delhi to Kodaikanal, I take a flight either to Madurai or Coimbatore. It takes me an additional 3 hours, so 6 hours of travel. And most people, when I post pictures on my Instagram, which is how we all learn about tourism now, ask me, what is this beautiful place? So I tell them, this is my home, it's Kodaikanal, I like to show off a bit. But then they ask me, how do you get there? So I tell them, you take a flight from Delhi, you go to Madurai or you go to Coimbatore, 3-4 hours, you'll be there. So they say 6-7 hours. Is infrastructure, is connectivity the biggest issue when it comes to tourism? Is that the decider?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank India Today for giving me this opportunity and for this award. I'm happy that you're from Kodaikanal and you're promoting Tamil Nadu here. So let me say that Tamil Nadu is one of the well-connected states in the country. We have almost 5 airports, 4 are international airports, And from Madurai airport, it just takes 2 hours to go to Kodaikanal. So I think you should come again and
I
visit
am a
Tamil
slow
Nadu.
driver, okay.
So it's very it's a high time that you come there and visit. But coming to the point, yes, infrastructure is very, very important. Somebody was mentioning, one speaker was mentioning before that, now people are short of time. They want to immediately reach a destination. They want to immediately go to a place, experience the beauty of the place. They don't want to spend time in traveling. So be it road connectivity, rail connectivity, or air connectivity, having good connectivity is always important, and having good infrastructure at the place is also very important. So what role should state play? I think state's role in infrastructure is very, very, very important. Especially developing good roads, good connectivity, good infrastructure, being an enabler in developing good hotels and other infrastructure. State will play a major role, and infrastructure is also very, very important.
Mr. Amarnath, can I bring you in on this? Without seeming to take sides, sir, if I were to ask you for a report card on how really the state, the center, or how the authorities, the administration has helped so far in really boosting heritage travel.
Yes. I think you're asking the right question from the wrong person, really. We have done about 30 restoration projects in 18 states. And lots of the press people ask us, which is the best state? So clearly the answer is none, really. Because if I go back just briefly, when Mr. Madhav Rao Sindhia was the Minister of Tourism in the 90s, there was a huge convention at the Maurya Hotel in Delhi. And Mr. Gautam Khanna, who ran Mercury Travels, and is the brother-in-law of Mr. Vicky Oberoi, he was asked to say something, so he got up and he said, for the last 50 years, I have been saying the same things. So nobody listens. So I don't even have to hold a paper. I can just go on saying the same thing. And at that was 30 years ago, I asked him that tourism has been declared an industry. It was declared then. But what is the advantage of that? So for 30 years, they said tourism is an industry. It's like saying you are a peacock and you will start dancing. You know, just declaring something didn't happen. But in Rajasthan, it has happened now, 30 years late, you know. So the thing is, and many people say this has happened because lots of the politicians are now investing in hotels. So they now realize that when you have to pay 20 lakh rupees a month as electricity, then they do this so that they also feel the pain. But I think, you know, different states have different ways of dealing with you because of the individual involved. You know, now I've been involved with Neemrana for 38 years. So this is not any offense meant to anybody here because none of you are responsible for the decisions taken in the past. But after 38 years, we get a notice to say that the fort of Neemrana now stands on forest land. So where is tourism going to take place? And in Uttarakhand, as I was talking to the Honorable Minister, we received a letter after 25 years saying, so everybody's on the take. They say he is a good people. So having done 27 properties, hotels in 18 states, never giving a bribe and never taking a loan is a huge achievement in India. But one is not delighted to have done this because you're really pushed over the brink. Every now and then you get a notice as if you were guilty of something. So I'll just answer your question now, sure. Really. I think there were 3 stages in tourism in India. The first one was the government attitude I'm talking about. We can't do it, but we won't let you do it. No, so I think in many industries that was the first. The second stage was, we have the power, we have the money. If you can do it, we can do it better than you. So they did it and they failed. Then we came to the third stage, which is closer to today, that, you know, actually these people do it so much better than us. So why don't we support them and that we have to do it together? So in Neemrana, and this is the question I'll ask all of you, in 1986, we purchased the Neemrana Fort Palace. Do you want to guess in how many years we got electricity? Any guess? You know how many years it took to get electricity to the fort of Neemrana?
Let me try. 2 years?
22 actually. Yes.
So it was way off the mark.
Way off the mark. So this is to talk about the conditions. So and since we are talking in-house really, and people should know. So if your daughter is getting married and you borrow a generator for a night, you keep praying that it shouldn't conk off. And sometimes now wealthy people get 2 generators because if there's a disaster. Can you imagine running a 14-tiered fort palace over 6 acres on a hill where people can roll down, fall down for 22 years, and people coming to say, if you give us a bribe, we will steal the cables and we will... I said, no, we will not get a bribe. You will not steal government cables. We will wait for the moment. And you know how it happened? I went to teach at the Doon school briefly for two months. And one day, Gajendra Singh ji of Khimsar became the minister in Rajasthan. So he called me and said, we're also friends because I knew his father, sir, is there anything that you would like from me? Because I'm power minister. So I said, wow, we'd like electricity. So we had done a hospital, you know, with Kushi, with Kapil Dev. We had done a hospital, a school, and they didn't have electricity. So we wanted to link it because if you're doing some treatment and there's no electricity. So he said, how is it not possible? Okay, I will. So he did some process. And the sarpanch of the village was opposing it and standing in the way when the cables were being dug. So I rang up the Minister of Power, and he said, I'm sending an armed force from Jaipur. And when they arrived, the sarpanch who was stopping the digging of the cable to the hospital turned around and started digging. And he said, "Main to nahi rok raha kisi ko." So is this a way India is going to progress? Is this a way we can bring education? You know, so we did schools there, then all the teachers are against us because they don't get money from tuition. So I think there has to be a huge effort that private sector and public sector drop that we and they line, and together we will take India where it is. Like France has done with a population of 65 million, they have 92 million tourists. That's what we should achieve.
I think you've essentially set the tone for this conversation to go forward, and a lot of questions for everyone here to answer as well. Mr. Sachin Jadhav, as the big winner of the day, considering your state bagged 3 awards today, do you think you've got the formula right, what Mr. Amarnath was speaking about?
At the outset, let me thank India Today for providing this platform for discussion, and quite meaningfully, you have not included just the bureaucrats on this dais and invited Mr. Amarnath. I am grateful to you for that. Because Mr. Amarnath, we have interacted with him 2 years ago at Konark also, and he indeed gives the third eye vision, that eye of knowledge. And he is indeed a mentor to all of us. He has far more experience than any of us sitting over here over past years. And although his address and his expressions were a bit cynical, they had an age of optimism also, and certain bitterness was there, and I do appreciate and understand that. But having seen the system from this side of the table, I can say that decision makers or policy makers, be it the ministers, be it bureaucrat or any government official or any local level leader like the Sarpanch he mentioned, they are part of the same society. All of us are part of the same society. And we are product of the same thought process. And if at all anything is to be blamed, let us blame it on the lack of industrial and tourism literacy. We don't know what tourism sector is. And once again, I congratulate India Today for selecting this particular topic, what the state is required to do. What is the role of the state? And I have something to say in this regard. Mr. Nath, he mentioned the stages through which this state thought process has gone through. Who are you to do? We will do. 2, let us do it together. That stage. And I agree with that. Government is indeed, the thought process has indeed settled at this point that there is a need for public-private participation. Not only need, there is a need to not only act together, but also to learn from each other. And each other, in a sense, it is the government which needs to learn from the private sector, because it is the job of the private sector, it is the job of the entrepreneurs to do these things. Government is there to facilitate, to help. In this regard, from the experience of Odisha, I can say one thing. Just one statistics I will give in Odisha, couple of statistics. First statistics is budget allocation. The seriousness of government about any particular sector can be gauged from the barometer of budget allocation. Now our budget will be presented in the Odisha Legislative Assembly in a couple of days. So I will not comment on this year's budget, but the current year's budget, that is 22-23 budget. 10 years ago, the budget allocation for tourism in Odisha, it was 65 crore. It was stagnated at that level for a long time. Over last 3 years, slowly, the graph increased. This year's budget that I am operating right now, and I was opening laptop because it is the last few days of the financial year and we need to sanction and clear certain payments and bills. We are at 600 crore rupees. And coming here, with some kind of fear, I am staring at the figure of 1,000 crore rupees. Why fear? I am frightened at the prospects of spending 1,000 crore rupees in a year with such a small capacity department. Because when the department was structured with the capacity of spending capacity of 65 crore rupees per year, with the same capacity, we have augmented it to that level. Okay, fine. Now coming to the next point. What for this budget is to be spent? 600 crore rupees given, fine. What for? Is it to give doles? I'm sitting with notes and I'm distributing. Anybody coming? No. There is a meaningful expenditure, meaningful component of this thing. So here comes the role of the state. What the state is to do with this money, with this allocation. What is the mandate given? What is the role of the state towards tourism? We in Odisha have identified there are 3 major components of role of the state. First thing, tourism is essentially an industry. We need to understand that thing, number one. So what kind of initiatives you are taking to promote industry? Take the same initiatives for tourism also. Do not differentiate between these two. So with certain difficulties, almost we are at par. Our Odisha Tourism Policy 3rd edition was published in Make in Odisha Conclave in December 22. It was 3rd edition. First was 2013, then 16, then 22. We are at par with slight few exceptions, certain practical difficulties. We are at par with industrial policy resolution of Odisha. Under this, apart from fiscal and non-fiscal incentives, we have taken definite step to identify land, because it is a land which is needed for crucial infrastructure, be it hospitality sector, be it other infrastructure, road connectivity, bridge promenades and other basic amenities in these destinations. We have identified, I will not go into statistics and details of these things. Odisha tourism policy. Policy is one thing, a definite mandate given to the tourism sector. Second important thing is development of infrastructure. Now I will not again waste my time on giving yarn on this. Already other speakers have spoken about it, and all of us are well aware of the critical role of infrastructure in all these things. And these two, this policy as well as development of infrastructure, they need the third component, which is extremely essential. That is the ongoing thing that is going on. That is promotion. Promotion is for the sake of enlightening, educating, and also projecting the soft power of the state, by which confidence among the investors and confidence among the tourists is instilled. More than tourists, it is the investor who needs to be wooed by the state. Once the investor is there, he will bring the tourists. So the promotion should be targeted towards the investors, not necessarily towards the travelers and tourists. This is what the state has learned over the years. And with this, we have got extraordinary results, let me tell you. We initiated, today Mr. Nath was there with us in our eco-retreat, Konark, 2 years ago, and we have entered 4th successful year of eco-retreat. It is a glamping project, glamping product of Government of Odisha at 7 locations, 7 diverse locations. We selected less explored locations, diverse locations, remote locations, but very scenic, where people could go at most for 1 day. Like this Gujarat tourism officials, they were mentioning, in Kevadia people will go for a couple of hours and come back. They will not stay there. We wanted people to go at such destinations, spend there at least 2 or 3 nights. And high spending tourists, so that luxury amenities to be created there. So eco-retreat is made with that purpose. For 70 years, Konark, you gave that award today for Konark. For Konark, for 70 years, people were going for day tourism only. Since last 4 years, people are going to Konark to spend more nights there. Why? Because of eco-retreat. Yes, no hotels were there. That is why hotels are not coming, because investors were not having confidence. With this initiation of Odisha tourism policy, 2 promenades at Konark, 2 beachfront promenades, 2 km each long, and eco-retreat, we have got 6 proposals of 5-star properties at Konark, and we have identified 70 acres of land for those projects. This has happened because of this thing. Now, this is the role of state, I believe, to answer your question. Thank you.
You answered in great detail. So my takeaway is essentially that your government has been a great enabler. And that makes, I think, a difference on the ground. Can I also bring in now Mr. Abhay Kumar Singh, Secretary of Tourism in Bihar. Sir, when it comes to tourism innovation and development, is the job of the central and state governments to kind of essentially get out of the way?
I would like to start my answer first. What is the role of state only? So my fellow panelists have already laid emphasis on infrastructure, the fiscal and non-fiscal incentives, the softer part, that is non-fiscal incentives in a form of what Mr. Amarnath has gone through his ordeal of this 30 odd years. Maybe make it more swift, make it more friendly. And there is another aspect to it, I'll say, that's the most softer part. That is skilling. Skilling is another domain where I feel state government has a role to play upon. Whenever a tourist is actually getting down from a train, aeroplane, or any other mode of transportation, it is the taxi wala, it is the auto wala, it is my guides to whom he come in contact with. So I feel this enabling a gesture, I could see that in J&K. I really respect that culture, the way tourists are being helped, tourists are being treated at J&K. I think that is something to be learned by all the other states, and more so from a Bihar's perspective, which is a coming up state in a tourism domain. We had religious tourism, cultural tourism, but now we are opening our domain to ecotourism and adventure tourism. So those are the forte we are actually moving on. Coming to your question precisely, that is the innovation. And I'll say once again what Mr. Amarnath has said. It's a time that we collaborate. Both government and private player need to collaborate. There are certain things which a private player cannot do on its own. The first and foremost is the land itself. What has amply been put emphasis upon by the Orissa Principal Secretary, I think that's a domain where some of the investors have been cheated upon. They don't get contiguous piece of land, and especially so in the Gangetic belt, where the population pressure is enormous. So there are multiple domains where now it is the collaboration between public and private players which is going to give a very conducive environment for tourism to flourish upon.
You know, you spoke of collaboration, sir, and ma'am, I'd like your comment on that. For most people, and everyone knows that this is a booming industry, but there is hesitation for, let's say, a youngster out there who wants to start his own resort, who wants to start his own hotel, to actually do it because they believe there's a lot of red tape involved, there's a lot of blocking by the government involved. Are there steps being taken to also ensure that that is eased out?
Yes, definitely, Akshita. Well, I can speak about my state, as I was mentioning earlier, that now treating it as an industry, now we are focusing on ease of doing business in tourism. So the first and the foremost step was declaring it as an industry, then setting up a one-stop shop. where all the investors, especially the startups, we are focusing on startups because the big investors, there is a lot of hand-holding in form of customized packages, SGST reimbursement, lot of relaxations. But those who want to start anew, whether it is a small two-wheeler ride, whether it is a small 3-room paying guest house, whether it is a small guest house, say 6-room guest house, and they are the ones who do not know where to go. So there, every district we have our facilitation cell and also our online cell. And that is being regularly monitored weekly basis at our level. And happy to share that in past 1 year, we were able to facilitate 762 such applications. So I think that is a big thing, and hopefully in coming this year or next year when they are operational, so they will add value, they will bring a lot of fresh air, breath of fresh air to tourism in Rajasthan. And at this point, I would also like to mention that we have also started focusing on responsible and sustainable tourism. And many youth groups have started to come forward and to partner with us. You know, and these small things, it is not the big groups, I will not name the big groups, but it is the small amateur groups who are coming and saying that, yes, we want to pledge for responsible tourism. And we started this step in the month of December, and already we have announced in the month of December again, we will be identifying those who have contributed to this responsible, sustainable tourism. So now again, this positive synergy between the government, the private sector, and especially the new startups, and that is a thing to see, especially in our state. Thank you.
Mr. Amarnath, you had a point to make. I just also had a brief follow-up to it, sir. That when I hear all of them, it does paint a very positive picture that things are changing. Do you see that happening?
Yes. No, actually, Mr. Jadhav, I don't want you to think that I am either bitter or pessimistic. You know, when you bang your head against so many walls, which they used to call one window clearance, I used to say, show me where that window is. You hit into one wall, then you hit into another wall. So I've actually become a fakir, really. And in India, we are very wise. You know, I think behind every truck is written, Saath kya le jaoge. So if the truck drivers know it, I think the government should also know that I will not run away with the Nimrana Fort Palace, you know, if I've spent my life restoring all these forts. So I didn't also want to sound in the least pessimistic. I want to, since you said 2 years for electricity and I said 22, I want to tell you a very positive story that I recently needed something to happen. And I spoke to the Chief Secretary of Rajasthan, and she said, speak to Gayatri ji, and she did that in 2 days. So I think there's great hope and optimism, and what we are all saying on the stage is the same thing, that we have to do it together. You know?
And it's great that we've at least started it by initiating this kind of conversation as well. I think pre-COVID, there wasn't so much talk of tourism because domestic tourism, which so many of our dignitaries have spoken about here, didn't see the kind of boom it's seeing right now. Post-COVID, there's a lot more focus on tourism. And Sandeep, would you like to also highlight what the Tamil Nadu government has done about that to kind of focus on domestic tourism in the state?
As you rightly pointed out, post-COVID has been mostly domestic, promoting domestic destinations, domestic tourism, because the entire connectivity was cut. Obviously, you can't even bring foreign tourists. So what was being promoted are these remote destinations, isolated destinations, remote tourism, work from staycations, vacations and staycations. So Tamil Nadu has been very consciously identifying lesser known destinations, lesser known hill stations. You talked about Kodaikanal. Kodaikanal is a very popular hill station, but it's now a mass tourism kind of destination. So how do you decongest this place? How do you divert the tourists to a new location or new places? So identifying lesser known tourist destinations, promoting them, identifying new tourism concepts like glamping, adventure tourism, beach tourism, and experiential tourism. Tamil Nadu is blessed with many plantation resorts, many coffee plantation, tea plantations. Now youngsters are preferring to go there, stay there, experience the entire lifestyle of picking up a coffee or making a tea or tasting tea there, rubber plantation. So we are actively promoting these kind of destinations, these kind of experiential tourism products in Tamil Nadu.
You know, customers are always looking for something very unique, whether it's a weekend destination or even if they're going for a long trip. Every experience that they want, Mr. Jadhav, has to be very different from what they're already doing. And a large source of where they look for these destinations is on social media. Do you think the government plays an active role also in promoting some of these destinations, using the new tools that you have, the digital tools that you have?
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to Odisha, we are actually running against the stream. Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, and many other places in India, they have natural advantage of already established stature of tourist destinations, unlike Odisha. That is why we prefer to call Odisha India's best kept secret. So now you said it. With social media, everybody is having access to the information all around the world in their hand. So we have taken clue from that, and we have engaged with the best of the professionals in this sector. Over last 3 years, we have been systematically working on this thing. Our website has received awards in the past also, Odisha Tourism website, and we have selected the best in the sector, best in the market. Apart from that, we have dedicated social media cell with experts from creative content writer, designer, people in this. We have recently redesigned our brand also, logo also, that Odisha Tourism logo, if you could see. It has all the components of modernity combined with heritage and spirituality. So Odisha has everything to offer. So with social media platform, we have our own handles having followings in millions, already clocked millions, or Instagram, YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitter, and for various products also. Under these umbrella handles, we have independent handles also. Plus, during tourist seasons, for our flagship products, we engage with influencers. So we run influencer campaigns with celebrities from within the state as well as from outside the state also. We also commission web series with reputed media houses in the country, and we ensure that these are broadcast in the form of original films as well as short reels over the social media handles. This is paying us very well.
You know, I'm curious to know, Mr. Abhay, is there a sense of competitiveness between states as well when it comes to tourism and, you know, promoting some of your sites?
Obviously. And I'll say the platform like India Today is promoting that healthy competition in between the states. So no doubt. Coming to the point, how we can promote our within a state tourism, I think we have a culture of celebrating our festivals. We have melas, we have mahotsavs. And what Haryana government is able to achieve through their handicraft mela is a very good example. Historically, most of the states have such sort of events, such sort of melas. We have a Harihar Kshetra Mela. It was there since Mahabharata times. This is what the folklore goes. And during the Mughal times, it was the place from where the most number of elephants would be sold for the whole of the country. So there would be kilometers and kilometers of lines only for buying and selling elephants. So those are the type of melas, mahotsav. Right now, because of various restrictions from Environment and Forest Ministry and other things, those are the type of restrictions that we work in. But then I'm very happy to tell you that this time, this Sonpur Mela, we could attract 1.2 crore people in a span of 28 days. And incidentally, we just got conducted a study from IIM Gaya. So their preliminary study tells us that it has churned out an economy of around 576 crore, local economy. So these are the type of dimensions I think we can work upon. Both domestic tourists and foreign tourists have their own role to play upon. Coming to social media, yes, it is the thing. As Odisha has already told that they are going big way from the website perspective, from their social media handles. And I think we are also doing it in a very competitive manner. We have gone through various familiarization trips where national level media influencers, social media influencers, they are coming, doing a trip of Bihar. Recently we had Harish Baliji, who is holding around 15 lakh follower base. So he did a trip of the same place for which we have been awarded today, same Nalanda, Rajgir. So I think it's a very, very good platform, and competition among the state is a very healthy one, and that is actually helping all of us to raise the bar, to perform better, and to attract more and more tourists.
Mr. Amarnath, are you astounded by today how tourism has changed in India in the sense, you have festivals that have become tourism spots, you have spiritual tourism, religious tourism, and whatnot that's come up now?
Oh, there's great optimism. In fact, something has really changed. In the last month, I've heard from Madhya Pradesh tourism, UP tourism, and to say, please, here are 20 things, and they had impossible terms earlier. They're very clear now. We want this much percentage of the turnover that we will do, because there are 3-4 things you want. You want road, water, electricity. If you give me just that, I can start with it. But if you create problem, unfortunately, I don't know if somebody's here from the Punjab. We did a public-private partnership with Haryana, Rajasthan, Punjab, and we restored the Baradari Palace, in which the grandfather of late the Chief Minister Amarinder Singh was born. And they advertised to say restoration of heritage property. Then they've been writing to us to say that we have to prove to them it's a heritage building. It's from Guru Nanak's time it starts, and if we don't prove that, they're sending us notices to say, please pay taxes for 20 years. Like Rajasthan was sending us, you've converted your residence into a commercial property. Nimrana was the grandest ruin anybody had ever seen. So if the states think that they are smart in troubling you, there are 22 or now 29. How many states there are? We turn our back and go to the next one. So PPP has to mean public-private partnership. So far, in all our experiences, it has meant private parties' problem. No, they just offload everything on you. They don't make the road, they don't give you water, they don't give you electricity. In the case of Tijara, I think I sent you, there's a 2-page thing. They give they have a tender, you win the tender, and again if I ask you, after you won a tender for a property, how long should a state take to hand it over to you? You wouldn't believe it, 7 years. Because they're saying, okay, you can have the fort, but you have no access to it. So how can a government give you a property without access? So it took 7 years, and it ended by us having to buy the land to access the government property. So that's not on, and which is the reason why Rajasthan didn't get other public-private partnerships. So now that they're straightening their record, and there's a change, we see there's an attitudinal change. So everything will happen, and I'm sure Rajasthan will get 3 awards next time.
Mr. Rathore, would you like to respond to that? Some of the issues that Mr. Amarnath pointed out. How has the government actively, worked on kind of addressing these shortcomings? Because I'm sure every state has some of these hiccups that they need to address.
Yeah, I do understand and acknowledge that there are teething troubles, when you move from a very government regulated system. Earlier, even hotels were being run by government. So that was the time when all the tourism development corporations, tourism boards were there. So it was all, government controlled, government, and as you gradually part away from your authority, responsibility, so there is always that, pain of it. And then there has to be attitudinal change, the mindset change. And now today when we see not only in Rajasthan, all the states competing with each other, trying to get more and more investment. So if you get investment, you'll get private players, you will have to give some relaxations, you'll have to have some basic infrastructure, you need to give customized packages, you need to give tax relaxations. So it is a complete package. And what I mean to say is that we are gradually evolving. And now if some investor comes, so there's this which single window had opened many windows, but now everyone, it is their responsibility, because we know, as was mentioned in the forenoon session, that it creates employment, it contributes to GDP. So earlier when a private investor was seen with lot of question marks, now we go and welcome, and we have ourselves who, we actually appreciate those people who, facilitate and get all the projects on ground in time. So now in time, on time, now that matters more. But again, there are issues regarding NGT, there are issues regarding forest clearances. So we need to have all these things also on board before we start up a project. So now the delays are because some statutory requirements that we need to go up to the National Wildlife Clearance Board to get all the permissions. But again, I'm happy to see that within these past 2-3 years, what we have observed that now the time that was being taken, now that has considerably reduced. So I'm very optimistic. Thank you.
I think what you've said is the most important thing, that the attitudinal change is taking place. What I found, because now I'm older than most people here, except maybe Mr. Arun Puri, that we can't be fighting with ourselves, with our nation and all this. So what happened was the British left, but they left a bureaucratic system in which, the bureaucrats felt that they had to not give you something, So if a person from a village goes to a government person and says, "Mere gaon mein पानी नहीं है, मेरे गांव में बिजली नहीं है, अच्छा जाओ कल आना." The attitude is not right. Yeah, can you do without water for one day? Can you do without bijli for one day? So now you have to say, आप भी नागरिक हैं, मैं भी नागरिक हूँ. We are equal citizens. So in the Neemrana hotels, because we began in Rajasthan, there is a lot of feudalism in the sense that when I was 25 years old, people would come and touch my feet. And I found that rather offensive, because that's not how I was brought up, because I'm Punjabi and my family are refugees from Lahore. So I said, this has to stop. So I told people, anybody who's going to touch my feet, I will touch his feet. So they say, "Aap to itte bade aadmi hain." So, I said, "Aap kad mein to aap bhi bade hain." So you have to, get people to understand that if everybody's equal, and once the government starts talking to us as equals, then we are equal. My problem is your problem is my problem, and then India is together, and who can stop us? We talk about 1,200 kilometers of, what have we not got? I mean, France is the size of Rajasthan, okay? And there's one small region in that called the Valley of the Loire, where all the chateaux and the forts are. They get more, which is the size of Shekhawati in Rajasthan, and they get more tourists than the whole of India. I mean, it's a matter of shame. And all the things we're talking about are there. And very soon, I actually see in 2-3 years, this will leap from here to there, and there's no stopping it.
A tourism revolution then. We've spoken about collaborations of private and public. Sandeep, what about the center-state collaboration? How important is that? I've strategically asked Tamil Nadu this question.
Very, very important, because center always plays the most important role. It has to support the states. Most of the monuments, for example, ASI monuments are under the control of the central government. So without their support, without their involvement, we can't really do much. At the same time, center always has deeper pockets. So unless they support the states in terms of infrastructure development, we can't really do much. So there's no competition. It should always be a collaborative approach. So center should support state, not only in terms of providing money, but also providing technical support. That's sometimes very, very important. Policy support, technical support, legislative support, all this is very important. So there's no center versus state. So it has to be center and state together, going together. And one more point I'd like to add with regards to the PPP projects, the discussion which is coming here. I understand over a period of time the things are changing and getting more matured and more things are improving. But one thing which will make a PPP project successful or not successful is keeping everything black and white in the agreement. Most of the problems come in PPP projects because of poor PPP documents. If you don't draft a proper PPP document with everything black and white, then it will end up in being a failure.
No, that's a very good point. I'm running out of time, but I have one question that I want all of you to answer for me, one after another, please. Ms. Rathore, if you could start. If you could name one destination in your state that everyone must visit, a lesser known one, that you believe people should go and see in your state.
Well, for lesser known, it is Jawai, the new discovery for leopards.
Hopefully, you'll win an award also next year. Sir, Mr. Abhay?
I'll say Valmiki Tiger Reserve. We have got 52 tigers there, and it's a contiguous location along with the Nepal territory. We have got 2,500 square kilometers of Tarai jungle. It's beautiful place, and I invite everybody there.
I will say Tanjore, the Chola kingdom capital. It has a 1,000-year-old UNESCO heritage site. It has arts, handicrafts, everything. Tanjore is such a beautiful place, not many know. So I urge everyone here to come and visit and enjoy the beauty of Tanjore.
I shouldn't answer this question, but if I am forced to, I will invite all of you to Konark.
Mr. Amarnath, I think I know what your answer will be, so my question is a little different for you. A 3-point wish list, sir, from governments going forward for young entrepreneurs who want to enter this industry, a 3-point wish list of how the government can help them.
No, the government should just step into our shoes, because when we go to somebody to ask for something, they should just see why we're asking for it, I mean, why would anybody in Rajasthan want to trouble me for coming 40 years ago to, to Rajasthan? I didn't come to grab land. We set up the first zip line in India with Swiss and British collaboration, which has been knocked down, and they consider it's a victory. All the poles are lying on the ground because somebody decided that, they wanted to trouble us. And we will not bribe anybody. I have done nothing wrong. So in 2010, when Manmohan Singh government said, you must get a Padma Shri, I said, certainly not, I don't want a hustler's award. It used to be those days. You had to know somebody in push files and get awards. I mean, are you going to call me here because I've got a Padma Shri? My Padma Shri is every few days, every day, the remarks we get from our clients, it's a daily Padma Shri. They say, how absolutely incredible. How could one human being have done this? Somebody sent me a message yesterday, ye to Valmiki tapasya jaise hai jo aapne kiya hai. So that is a Padma Shri, that's from the heart. So these little awards, and when I refused it, they said, it's an award, it's a national. I said, no, I don't want it. I'm not the award sort of person. And 5 years later, out of the blue, I got a letter from the President of France to say that we are offering you the Légion d'Honneur, which is their greatest civilian award. So then I thought, no, I've refused the Indian one, but I said I have no grudge with the French government, really. So I took that, So that's what it is. But my award is that when I come to meet all these wonderful people, that they say, yes, this and this you can do. And we're not asking you, we're asking you for a road, we're asking you for electricity and water. I think these are basic things in the 21st century. After that, we'll do everything.
Very true, sir. Thank you so much. A big round of applause, please, for all of our panelists, for taking all of my questions and sportingly agreeing to answer to every single one of them. Thank you very much. Thank you. And with that, we come to the end of the India Today Tourism Conclave. Thank you all very much for joining us. Just a quick reminder that lunch is served as well in the corridor for all of you.